Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. My attributes system have no limit. Chapter 21. Instructor Liu, I'm sorry. I am Wang Mengfei, a junior student at our Baiyu Martial Arts School. I was too surprised just now and couldn't hold it back. Sorry. Wang Mengfei explained quickly. When Instructor Liu heard this, he nodded and the expression on his face seemed to soften a lot. Then haven't you tested your strength before? Bald Instructor Liu asked again, with a look of confusion on his fierce face. No, I haven't been tested before due to poor health. Wang Qi explained. You come with me. The bald Instructor Liu glanced at Wang Qi, then seemed to look at the woman in white on the sofa with his peripheral vision. Seeing that she had no expression, he motioned for Wang Qi to follow him. The registration office room is very large, with a half-open wooden door next to the window. The bald Instructor Liu walked over with Wang Qi. When I walked in, I saw a room similar in size to the one before. There are several simple cabinet-type machines on display, and there is something similar to a boxer target on top. Pointing at the machine, bald Instructor Liu gestured. Go, do you see the boxer's target up there? Punch it with all your strength. Wang Qi nodded and thought to himself, is this a test of strength? Without hesitation, Wang Qi stepped forward. At this time, Zhang Man and Wang Mengfei, who were in another room, were sitting on the sofa and resting. Zhang Man stared closely at the house on Wang Qi's side, while Wang Mengfei on the side looked at the woman in white sitting beside him. Come closer. Sister, did you also come here to register? Did you take the test? How did you pass it? The woman in white just glanced at Wang Mengfei and said nothing. Seeing this, Wang Mengfei thought that this person had failed, and said quickly, it doesn't matter, go back and practice hard, come back next time, our Baiyu Martial Arts School welcomes new students, when the time comes, you can find me, my name is Wang Mengfei, I'll cover you. At this moment, the calm face of the woman in white showed a rare hint of surprise, and she looked at Wang Mengfei strangely. Your name is Wang Mengfei. I remember you. You will protect me from now on. The voice was like an orchid in an empty valley, and as gentle and clear as a lark, it was extremely beautiful. After saying that, he stood up and walked towards Wang Qi's house. Here Wang Qi stood in front of the machine and adjusted its status. He raised his right hand, clenched his palm into a fist, and slammed it forward. Bang! There was the sound of the test boxing target coming into contact with Wang Qi's fist. Strength 122 kilograms. Beginner. At this moment, the woman in white standing at the door flashed her eyes, this is. He thought to himself. This young man seems to be very powerful, but the moment he punched out, his power was loose and most of it disappeared. It seems that he has not yet mastered his own power. The punch he punches now is probably only 10 times the original punch. A strength of about 1,200 kilograms. Is this power produced by a person who has not practiced? Is it natural power? If this kind of talent can be used by Baiyu Martial Arts School, I am afraid that there will be 3 major martial arts schools in Yongfeng Town in the future. You have to have a place in my Baiyu Martial Arts School. The woman was very happy when she discovered a student with excellent talent. She immediately said, Lao Lu, go and sign him up. He is qualified. At the same time, he was still thinking in his mind, it seems that this young man doesn't know much about his own strength. We must hold him tightly and use him for my Baiyu Martial Arts School. The bald Instructor Liu on the side heard the woman in white's words and responded respectfully. Then he said to Wang Qi, who was still stunned, you are qualified, come with me. This data is not quite right. My strength should not be this little. How come the strength attribute of 12 points has such little data? Something is wrong. Wang Qi was still immersed in doubts when he heard the words of the bald Instructor Liu, and followed him blankly. After saying that, he returned to the room where he was just now, walked to the desk, took out a piece of material and handed it to Wang Qi. Go and fill in the information here truthfully. That's it. Wang Qi took the material and nodded, with an excited smile on his face. The doubts in his heart just now have been dispelled by the joy of joining the martial arts gym. He will study this issue slowly when he joins the martial arts gym in the future. After filling out the information, Wang Qi respectfully handed the materials to bald Instructor Liu. Standing aside quietly. Okay, next is the tuition fee. There are 2 types of fees in our martial arts school. One is the annual fee system, which is 50,000 alliance coins for 2 semesters in the first academic year, and then increases to 50,000 every year. The other is more dangerous and requires you to follow the hunting team of our martial arts school goes to the wild to hunt wild beasts, kill them, and bring back the flesh, blood and useful materials to convert them into points for the martial arts school. They are calculated once every semester. If the points in the first semester do not reach the target, they will automatically transferred to the second semester. One semester lasts for 6 months. If you cannot complete 2 consecutive semesters, we will directly cancel your martial arts student qualifications. You can change it once a year in alliance coins or points. Already. The hunting group that just came back today was seriously injured this time. 50 people were gone, but less than 30 people were intact. There were minor and serious injuries. They all had poor family conditions and could not afford the tuition. They had to go through life and death to obtain cultivation resources. Think about it for yourself, decide whether to pay or join the hunting group. The bald instructor Lu stood up and looked at Wang Qi, and explained clearly the required registration fee, and then pointed to a building in the distance. Looking carefully, there were people carrying seriously injured people one after another at the door. Students enter the building. When Wang Qi heard this, he thought to himself that the price was too high. 50,000 for 1 year, 100,000 for the second year, and 150,000 for the third year. It was too expensive. But the risk of joining the hunting group is very high. How should I choose? 50,000 yuan or the hunting group? Hunting group. Hunting wild beasts. Isn't this one of the ways to obtain attribute points that the system prompted in your mind at the beginning? I chose this one. There is no doubt about the power of attribute points. With one more way to obtain them, my strength may be able to improve by leaps and bounds. While Wang Qi was thinking in his mind, Zhang Man on the side said eagerly, "We pay the fee. We will not join the hunting group." As he said that, he took out his mobile phone from his bag and prepared to transfer money. Wang Qi quickly stopped Zhang Man and said anxiously, "Mom, what are you doing? I want to join the hunting group, so I don't have to pay tuition." When Zhang Man heard this, he felt even more anxious. What would he do if his child went to the hunting group and had some problems? He quickly shook his head and looked at Wang Qi and said, "No, no. Mom knows that you are worried about your family's financial situation, but you can still make money. If you have a problem, what will I do? How will you explain to your father? Oh Mom, do you really not believe your son? I'll go talk to my father. You don't have to worry about it. I'm determined to join this hunting group," Wang Qi said firmly. The bald instructor Lu on the side couldn't help but persuade Wang Qi when he saw this situation. "Wang Qi, you should listen to your mother. The hunting group is not a place for you to play. If you are not careful there, your life will really be in danger." Bald instructor Lu has encountered this situation countless times. Many parents are worried about the safety of their children. However, in martial arts training, if you don't go through life and death and fight often, how can you break through to a higher realm? I sighed slightly in my heart. The hunting group has suffered inexplicably heavy casualties in the past few months, and I don't know what the situation is. If there is no fresh blood to join, I am afraid that the instructors from the martial arts school will need to go into battle in person. At this moment, Wang Qi discovered a way to increase attribute points, and his attitude was even more determined. He would not let this opportunity pass. "Mom, you don't need to say anything. I have already decided to join the hunting group. Instructor Lu, please help me with the procedures." Wang Qi looked at his mother's worried look and couldn't bear to refuse. However, in order to improve his strength, Wang Qi could only firmly refuse his mother's proposal. Only when his strength improves can the family's living situation improve. Bald instructor Lu looked at Wang Qi's firm look and couldn't help but admire in his heart, this guy is not bad and has a lot of talent. The students who signed up before have seen a lot of it themselves. Once they heard about the dangerous situation of the hunting group, many people became cowards and could only pay all the alliance coins to come to the martial arts hall to study. "That's it, Instructor Lu." Wang Qi's firm voice came again, and the perseverance in his expression did not diminish at all. Zhang Man on the side was even more anxious at the moment, but he had no choice. His child had a stubborn temper and had been like this since he was a child. If he wanted to make him change his mind, unless he figured it out, no matter what others said, it would be useless. Finally, he sighed helplessly. I can only pray secretly in my heart, hoping that my son will be safe in the future hunting group. And Wang Mengfei was also surprised at this moment. Didn't Wang Qi see it? He was so cruel to him. I didn't even realize that I had been sitting in a wheelchair before, but now that I want to start practicing martial arts, it's like I'm a completely different person. Good. The bald instructor Lu was slightly happy when he saw that Wang Qi's family had not changed Wang Qi's mind. Then he took out a crescent-shaped object that was exactly the same as Wang Mengfei's from a cabinet nearby, picked it up and waved it in front of Wang Qi's eyes. Tomorrow, Monday, the martial arts gym will start classes. Come and get your personal identity certificate. Seeing this, Wang Qi breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed to be successful. Thank you, Instructor Lu. Wang Qi bowed deeply, with a hint of excitement in his words. His dream was close at hand. It's really exciting to be able to come to class tomorrow. Okay, you can pack your things and have a good rest when you go back this afternoon. Training will start tomorrow. It won't be the kind of training you did before by yourself. Be mentally prepared. At this time, the bald instructor Lu also had a smile on his face and said to Wang Qi, asking him to prepare well for tomorrow's training, with a somewhat teasing tone in his words. Wang Qi nodded repeatedly when he heard this. Yes, I will definitely practice hard. Then let's go back first. Then the bald instructor Lu watched a few people leave and bowed to the woman in white who came out of another room. Master. It turns out that this woman in white is actually the owner of Baiyu Martial Arts School. Instructor Lu then said excitedly, it's great to have another person in the hunting group. The woman in white nodded and looked at the bald instructor Lu, with some excitement in her tone. Old Lu, this kid has great talent and is worth training. We haven't met any talented students in our Baiyu Martial Arts School for a long time. Good talent. Master, where do you start talking about this? The data just now is only 122 kilograms, just over the passing line. How do you say he has talent? If he wants to join the hunting group, he must practice at least to the level of a warrior. I am qualified, but I don't know when I will reach the standard. The woman in white looked at Lao Lu's confused look and said without explaining, just keep your eyes open and watch. That's it. Remember to inform the other instructors in the evening. I have something to notify. The video conference will be held at 9 o'clock in the evening. No one is allowed to be absent. The proportion of injuries in this hunting group has increased significantly recently. I want to see what these guys are doing. What's going on? After saying that, he twisted his vigorous figure and walked out. Yes, looking at the figure walking away, bald instructor Lu's eyes were full of respect. When Wang Qi returned home, he was being severely punished by an angry Zhang man. Wang Qi, do you still think of me as your mother? You can decide this kind of thing without consulting me or your father. On the way home, Zhang man thought about the situation just now, and the more he thought about it, the more angry he became. He couldn't help but explode as soon as he got home. This kid actually decided to join the hunting group rashly, regardless of his own life. How could he be so childish? Mom, if you are angry and want to kill or chop me into pieces, as long as you can calm down, besides, this has been decided, just let me try. I have confidence in myself. Wang Qi stood in the living room with an aggrieved look on his face, allowing his mother to scold him. However, he had achieved his goal, so this trivial matter would not affect Wang Qi's decision. Wang Qi not only showed no remorse, but also acted like a dead pig that was not afraid of boiling water, which made Zhang man so angry that she was like a Buddha leaving her body and ascending to heaven. At this moment, Wang Qi was actually looking forward to the day of going out hunting as soon as possible. Wang Qi, you are really impressive. You dare to join the hunting group. Where do you get your confidence? Look how angry you made your mother. Wang Mengfei, who was standing aside, also took the opportunity to ridicule Wang Qi. This guy didn't know what he was thinking. He dared to make such a decision. He was really not afraid of death. I have been in this Baiyu Martial Arts Hall for almost half a year. I have seen too many members of the hunting group who returned injured. Some of them were even more serious and could not practice in the future. However, there are also some people with outstanding strength who are constantly improving, but they are only a minority after all. Now thinking about Wang Qi's impulsive look when he made the decision, he despised him even more. Wang Qi couldn't refute his mother at this time. He made up his mind to practice successfully so that his mother would no longer worry about him. So she said to her mother, "Mom, I'm going to the backyard to practice." She quickly took the opportunity to slip away in 2 or 3 steps under the pretext of practicing. Seeing this, Wang Mengfei followed him. How could she fall behind Wang Qi? This guy worked so hard, she couldn't slack off at all, otherwise her position as a sister might be in jeopardy in the future. Came to the backyard, Wang Mengfei took the lead and said, "Since you can practice, I will give you this basic bodybuilding method, you practice well." Wang Qi was a little excited when he heard this. This basic bodybuilding method is a kind of practice method taught in the martial arts knowledge education class in the school. He often watched his sister practice it before, but he was disabled and weak in strength and blood before, so he couldn't practice it at all. Now it's different. The body is strong and the blood has improved several times than before. Now there are no attribute points, practicing this to improve the blood and strength is also very good. Watch it. After Wang Mengfei finished speaking, she demonstrated the basic bodybuilding method. Wang Qi watched carefully on the side, and his hands and feet also moved. As the number of demonstrations increased, Wang Qi, who was originally unfamiliar, gradually became proficient in the body movements. When Wang Mengfei demonstrated it 10 times, Wang Qi suddenly heard a voice that surprised him. "Ding, learn the basic body-building method." Wang Qi, who was still trying to remember the action just now, suddenly found that there was an additional item in the column of the skill on the attribute panel in his mind. Kung Fu, basic body-building method first level proficiency 0/10. Introduction. The basic method for martial artists to practice. More practice can improve the body's blood and qi strength, and also increase the body's rate of absorbing the energy of heaven and earth. You can use attribute points to upgrade. There is also a proficiency mark behind it, and you can also use attribute points to upgrade. This immediately made Wang Qi feel troubled. He was like a pauper now, where would he get the attribute points? At the same time, a strange message appeared in Wang Qi's mind. Wang Qi actually found that he had completely memorized dozens of basic bodybuilding methods, as if he was born with them, and he didn't feel unfamiliar at all. What a magical system! At this time, Wang Qi's confidence increased greatly, and he took advantage of the opportunity to move according to the basic bodybuilding methods in his memory. A strange feeling came. The blood and qi in the body seemed to be pulled by something, and it seemed to be alive in the body, constantly surging. Wang Qi felt carefully, and there was a strong beating sound from his heart, gurgling, and the combination of inside and outside actually made Wang Qi's movements faster. Once, twice, Wang Qi's speed became faster, and soon he had completed 10 times. At this time, Wang Qi's body was constantly rising and falling. These 10 times of practice were almost draining Wang Qi's physical strength, and there was no way to do the 11th time. He was sweating all over and breathing heavily, but his eyes showed excitement. This basic bodybuilding method can actually increase attribute points. It's amazing, but it's a pity that the number is too small. After practicing for 10 times, it only increased by 0.1. Wang Qi looked at the changes on the attribute panel, and he was excited and a little dissatisfied. He had picked up a lot of attributes in the past 2 days, and this 0.1 amount was a bit unsatisfactory. After a short rest, Wang Qi thought to himself, no matter how small the mosquito legs are, they are still meat. If the attribute points are too few, I will practice a few more times, 10 times, 100 times, or even 1,000 times. Since I have decided to step into martial arts practice, I must go all out. I don't want to see the days before. Then I started practicing again. Wang Mengfei, who was standing by, also practiced dozens of times. Seeing Wang Qi's skilled figure, she couldn't help but feel a little jealous. How did Wang Qi learn it so quickly? It took me 2 weeks to remember all these movements, but this guy can practice them in a row. Humph, this guy must have watched me practice before and memorized these movements. It must be like this. In such hot weather, I'd better practice in the practice room. Wang Mengfei saw that Wang Qi mastered it so quickly, and she didn't think that Wang Qi was gifted. Instead, she thought that Wang Qi often watched her practice before and memorized the movements, so he could master it so quickly. She didn't want to be overtaken by Wang Qi, so she practiced very hard now. She took a breath and drank a sip of water, standing in the room, watching Wang Qi's constantly changing figure. Wang Mengfei was unwilling to lag behind and was also immersed in practice. But she was wrong. Wang Qi relied on the ability of the system. If he practiced by himself, I'm afraid it would take a long time to connect a complete set of basic bodybuilding methods. This basic bodybuilding method uses both hands and feet, sometimes like a tiger or a leopard, sometimes like a snake or an insect, and sometimes twists the body irregularly, like a tiger pouncing on its prey, like catching the moon in the sea. This strange practice method constantly enhances the blood and qi of the two people. Every time Wang Qi tries to complete a higher number of times, he is exhausted, but when he rests, his physical strength gradually recovers and increases a little more than the last time. After repeating several times, Wang Qi has practiced this basic bodybuilding method for a full 100 times. At this time, Wang Qi wants to see the changes in his body. His consciousness is immersed in the attribute panel. The column of attribute points has changed from 0.1 to 1. Hard work pays off. It seems that his efforts have not been in vain. At the same time, the proficiency of the basic bodybuilding method also increased a little to 1/10. Wang Qi calculated the benefits of this basic bodybuilding method in his mind. He could get one attribute point after practicing it 100 times. His own attributes did not seem to change much. Moreover, practicing it 100 times could increase the proficiency of the method a little. If he practiced it 1,000 times, he would get 10 attribute points and the proficiency of the method would increase to the second level. Thinking of this, Wang Qi's sweaty face showed a hint of expectation. The weather in the afternoon was a little dim. Without the bright sunshine in the morning, it seemed a little stuffy. The sticky sweat on the body made people feel uncomfortable. Does it look like it's going to rain? I'm so stupid. I'm standing outside to practice. Wouldn't it be uncomfortable to go into the practice room with the air conditioner on? I was just immersed in the freshness of the basic bodybuilding method and didn't pay any attention to the state of the environment. Now I feel uncomfortable all over. I went to get a glass of water, drank 2 gulps, and then entered the practice room with the door open. It's really comfortable. I should have come in earlier. This girl is smart. Wang Mengfei, who was tied with a black belt around her waist, was also practicing hard at this moment. Although the room lacked a bit of the stuffiness outside, beads of sweat could still be seen falling on Wang Mengfei's face. If I add the attribute points to my physique, I can hold on a little longer. With more energy, I can practice more. Then, looking at the weighted wristband thrown on the ground, Wang Qi picked it up and put it on his wrist. After adjusting it, he started a new round of practice. The training room was silent, but there was a constant breathing sound like a bellows, and the faint sound of wind from the continuous punching. 997, 998, 999, 1000. As soon as the words fell, there was a bang, and Wang Qi was already exhausted and collapsed on the ground. Wang Qi's continuous practice just now allowed Wang Qi to continuously break through himself. After practicing 1,000 times, Wang Qi got 10 attribute points. At the beginning, every time a complete attribute point appeared, it was added to the physical constitution. However, although the physical strength increased, the efficiency did not increase. At the same time, a few points were added to the speed attribute. The increase in physical fitness allowed Wang Qi to gradually increase his physical strength from the initial limit of 10 times to more than 20 times. The increase in speed and proficiency gradually shortened the time per session from the original 8 minutes to the current 3 minutes. Minute once limit. 2 hours later. At this time, Wang Qi's attributes have been greatly improved. Host: Wang Qi. Kung Fu. The second level of basic body training, 0-100s. Strength: 12. Constitution: 10. Speed: 7. Spirit: 2. Attribute points: none. Wealth: none. Equipment: none. The basic body training method has also been improved to the second level. Looking at the proficiency data, it takes 10,000 times of practice to improve to the third level. At the same time, the changes in attributes made Wang Qi, who was lying on the ground, extremely excited. The rewards of this afternoon's hard work were also huge. Gu, Gu. A strange sound rang in the training room. He wanted to try the basic exercise method that was upgraded to the second level. However, the training just now had exhausted all the energy stored in his body. Now Wang Qi was hungry and his stomach was growling. Call. If you continue practicing like this, you will lose more than you gain. Although cultivation is like sailing against the current, if you don't advance, you will retreat, but the combination of work and rest can improve the efficiency of cultivation. Wang Qi knows this well from the experience of his previous life. After resting for a while, Wang Qi staggered up and looked at the time, 5:23. Go and clean up. It's probably time to start dinner later. At this time, Wang Qi was already alone in the practice room. Wang Mengfei had been unable to continue half an hour ago and left here dragging her exhausted body. Wang Qi neatly put aside the training tools he had just used, and left. After dinner, Wang Qi, are you human? How do you talk? Hearing what Wang Mengfei said, Wang Qi looked at her angrily while lying on the sofa. If he hadn't exhausted all his energy from practicing in the afternoon, he would definitely go up and argue with her. Have you always been pretending before? Is this your first time practicing today? Ah. The voice was a bit sharp, and there was a trace of angry jealousy on Wang Mengfei's face. His words were full of reluctance for Wang Qi's performance that surpassed his own today. He mastered the basic exercise method very quickly, and the physical strength he cultivated lasted a long time. Even the limit number of times was almost the same as his own each time, and the time was faster. This kind of thing everything made Wang Mengfei feel full of frustration. I've told you before, I'm gifted. The other party used to be in a wheelchair as if he was disabled. This guy showed off that he could practice all day long. His arrogance was still fresh in Wang Qi's memory. Now that he saw the other party's unwillingness and jealousy, Wang Qi felt extremely happy. Zhang Man on the side saw the two brothers and sisters bickering again, and sighed in his heart that things in this world are unpredictable. In the afternoon, his daughter told her son Wang Qi's performance in cultivation. He couldn't believe it. His son was really talented and had accumulated a lot of experience. After spending so many years in a wheelchair, I feel like I have become a different person now. I am no longer so decadent. I practice so hard. It's really God's vision. But what is the reason why my child has changed so much? Oh, forget it, why do you care so much? As long as the child is well, nothing else matters. Here, you are going to the martial arts gym tomorrow to practice. After you go there, you and your sister will help each other to avoid being bullied. You have rarely had contact with people outside for so many years. Warriors respect martial arts. Many people they all rely on the strong to bully the weak, so you should be more careful. Zhang Man looked at his child and was a little worried that he would not be able to integrate into the martial arts gym and would be bullied. He couldn't help but worry. Don't worry, Mom, you don't have to worry. I will protect Wang Qi when he gets there. Wang Mengfei vowed to pat her chest and said to her mother at this time. When Wang Qi heard this, he thought to himself, I don't know what your level 2 warrior strength is in the martial arts hall. If Wang Qi is bullied by ordinary people, her strength can still protect Wang Qi Zhoquan, but the martial arts hall is full of martial arts practitioners. If your bad temper doesn't cause trouble, everything will be fine and you can protect yourself. Although he thought so in his heart, he couldn't say it out loud. Wang Qi nodded to his mother and stopped talking. After dinner, Wang Qi did not practice anymore. He returned to his room and rested early, recuperating enough to prepare for his first martial arts training tomorrow. Early the next morning, Mom, let's go. After breakfast, brother and sister Wang Qi got ready, said hello to their mother and walked out. Wang Qi, if you join the hunting group, you must be careful in the future. It is very dangerous here. If anything happens, you should go to the instructor of your hunting group. At this time, Wang Qi and the two were waiting on the street for the bus heading to the martial arts school. They thought of the brothers and sisters in the hunting group who were often injured, and they couldn't help but worry about Wang Qi. She had joined the Baiyu martial arts school for less than half a year and had seen too many such things. Every time the hunting team went out to hunt wild beasts, they never said that they came back intact. Slight injuries and bleeding were nothing. A broken arm was nothing. Broken legs are also common. Wang Qi looked at her and nodded, saying, I understand. Seeing this, Wang Mengfei didn't say anything more. At the entrance of Bayou Martial Arts School. Please show your identity. The martial arts school students on duty at the entrance have changed to two people, no longer the senior brother from yesterday. Wang Mengfei handed over the crescent-shaped object and said, "Senior brother, the person behind has signed up to join our martial arts school yesterday. He came to get his identity information today. His name is Wang Qi." The tall and thin senior brother glanced at Wang Qi, looked him up and down, and then said, "You two wait here first, I'll go and verify the situation." Today's senior brother looked very strict. He needed to verify before letting two people in. Wang Qi was a little confused. Yesterday, he only verified the information and let several people in. Today, he was so strict. Then he asked another student of Bayou Martial Arts School, "Why is it so troublesome today? Do you need to verify it?" Another fat student on duty saw the confusion on Wang Qi's face and said enthusiastically, "This junior brother, classes are normal during the week. There are many people in our Bayou Martial Arts School. In order to avoid some strangers from entering, our guard office will follow the rules during the week. Wait, after the verification, it will not delay your time." After a while, the tall and thin senior brother came over again, nodded to Wang Qi, and smiled. "Wang Qi, right. Welcome to join Bayou Martial Arts School. You will go to the registration office to get your identity certification first, and then the teacher will explain other things to you." Wang Qi came to the registration office where he signed up for the strength test yesterday again. Wang Mengfei also left at this time, saying that she was going to prepare for the gathering. After knocking on the door, Wang Qi walked in. The registration office today was not the bald instructor Lu, but another slightly younger man, wearing a white robe, with a full face, sitting at the desk. "Hello, I am Wang Qi, I am here to get my identity certification." The man looked up at Wang Qi and said in a teasing tone, "Are you the new student who joined the hunting group yesterday?" "It's me." Wang Qi nodded. This bald guy, he is really lucky to meet a new student who joined the hunting group. The man took out a set of clothes from the side, and there was a crescent-shaped object on the clothes. He handed them to Wang Qi and said something that made Wang Qi a little confused. Wang Qi took the item from the other party and was about to ask when the man said, "Take it." The building next door is a rest area with a place to change clothes. The one above is the certificate of our martial arts school. It has a number and your name. Follow this number to find your locker, and then go to the first floor lobby next door to wait for the gathering. What the man said was exactly what Wang Qi wanted to ask. After resolving his doubts, Wang Qi said thank you to the other party and walked out. Then he looked at the crescent-shaped object, took it in his hand and examined it carefully. It seemed to be made of some kind of beast's teeth and iron. There were also electronically displayed data on it. One was Wang Qi's name, and the other had a row of numbers 04587 under his name. It seemed that this was his student number. Could this number be the number of all the students in the martial arts school? Counting himself, 4,587 people. There are so many. There is an even larger building next to the registration office. At this time, there were already many boys and girls who looked about the same age as Wang Qi in the lobby on the first floor. They were gathering in groups of 3 or 2 to talk about something. Wang Qi looked around to find the location of the locker, but there was a hall on the first floor and he didn't see any lockers. Wang Qi then walked up to a few people who were talking not far from him and asked, "Hello, where is the locker?" The people looked at Wang Qi, and the red-haired boy in the lead stared at Wang Qi and said jokingly, "Hey, there's a newcomer here, the locker. Go ahead, go upstairs on the right and you'll see it. You can find it according to your number." Then he pointed and told Wang Qi the direction. Wang Qi thanked the other party and walked over with the clothes in his arms. After seeing Wang Qi walk away, there was a burst of laughter here, and one of the boys said, "Brother Joe, this kid has been tricked by you again. I guess he will be knocked down soon." The other boys also laughed, their eyes fixed on the direction where Wang Qi disappeared, as if they were waiting to see Wang Qi's joke. At this time, Wang Qi still walked upstairs without knowing it. Second floor. A series of screams suddenly erupted. "Ah, hooligan, how did you get up here? Get out now." Wang Qi was stunned by everything in front of him. This was not a male locker, but a female locker. It was full of female students who had just arrived at the martial arts gym and were changing clothes. "Sorry, Sorry, this is my first time here and I don't know where to go. Someone just told me to come here. I'm leaving now. Hurrying to block his sight with the clothes in his hands, Wang Qi lowered his head and ran out. Asshole, it's so abominable. I was seen naked. It must be another fool who deceived the newcomer. It's so infuriating. All of a sudden, countless gnashing voices came from the second floor, wishing to eat Wang Qi alive. Wang Qi, who came downstairs, saw the few people just now looking at him with a mocking look on their faces, and was immediately furious. This was simply deliberately pitting him. Why did you lie to me? Wang Qi stepped forward and argued loudly, his tone full of anger. Such a big misunderstanding happened on the first day of coming to the martial arts hall. How can he gain a foothold in the martial arts hall in the future? You were lucky. You didn't get beaten out. Besides, where did I lie to you? Didn't you want to find a locker? Wasn't there one there just now? Ha ha ha. Just now, the red-haired boy was actually looking forward to being beaten out. It was really hateful. He had no grudges against him, but he actually treated him like this. Wang Qi was very angry and looked at him with gritted teeth. Thinking of what his mother told him, he thought it was alarmist, but he didn't expect it to happen to him so soon. Ha ha, you were lucky. That's right, why are you not convinced, and you still want to fight? You are a newcomer, try to move. The teenagers on the side also echoed and stepped forward, with ferocious expressions on their faces, as if Wang Qi took action, several people would take Wang Qi down together. But Wang Qi didn't care about all that. He threw down the clothes in his hands and was about to punch him. However, before his fist hit the opponent, Wang Qi's stomach was suddenly hit by a huge force. The pain caused by the huge impact made Wang Qi take a few steps back and sit down on the ground, looking very embarrassed. The opponent was so strong that he was kicked to the ground before he even touched the corner of his clothes. He was so weak. Wang Qi was kicked so hard that he could hardly stand up for a while. He could only stare at the opponent fiercely, as if he wanted to eat the red-haired boy alive. The opponent looked at Wang Qi fiercely, but he didn't care at all. One of the boys even said to Wang Qi, "What are you looking at? A newcomer is so arrogant and wants to hit someone. Don't you look at who is standing in front of you? Our brother Joe has just broken through the 4th level of warriors. Today he will join the intermediate student class for training. Don't you look at your own weight? You really don't know how to live or die, Warrior level 4. Wang Qi heard this. No wonder the power is so strong. The power of the 4th level warrior is far beyond what he can bear now. Can he only admit defeat today? Wang Qi was very unwilling in his heart, but he had no choice. Strength. Everything depends on strength. If I am stronger than him now, I won't have to suffer this humiliation, and I won't be like a fish on the chopping board, let the evil people slaughter and bully me. I don't accept it. Just as Wang Qi was about to stand up and argue again, a hand suddenly reached out from the side and helped Wang Qi up. Wang Qi turned his head and saw that it was a woman. Zhou Hang, your ability to bully the weak is getting better and better. A crisp voice came from Wang Qi's ears, and it also exuded a faint fragrance. Wang Qi didn't care about these. Hearing what the woman said, he looked fiercely at the red-haired boy named Zhou Hang opposite him, wanting to remember him deeply in his mind, and one day he must avenge this kick. HMPH, Fang Lei, stop meddling here, it's not your turn to worry about what I do. This week, Zhou Hang saw that the originally arrogant expression of the woman next to Wang Qi had become much more restrained. Don't think that no one can treat you just because you have become an intermediate student. My reputation as a senior student is not for nothing. Today I will let you taste what it feels like to be bullied. After saying that, he let go of the hand holding Wang Qi, gathered all his strength, raised his hand and hit Zhou Hang. At this moment, an angry voice came from the door of the hall. Stop, what are you going to do? Private fighting is prohibited in the martial arts gym. Are there any rules? Soon enough, Fang Lei's fist didn't wait for the angry voice to fall, and it hit Zhou Hang's unpunched face firmly. Zhou Hang was hit by this attack, and a trace of blood oozed from the corner of his mouth. He quickly covered his red cheeks with his hands and howled in pain. He was too fast to react. Wang Qi didn't even see the fist clearly, he only felt a shadow flash past. Instructor, I couldn't stand it when Zhou Hang bullied the new students who joined the martial arts gym, so I took action and taught him a lesson. I also controlled the force, just to make him remember it longer. At this moment, Fang Lei also knew that she had broken the rules, so she quickly explained the whole story, hoping to get the instructor's forgiveness. The person who came was none other than the bald instructor Lu who signed up for Wang Qi yesterday. Is that so? The bald instructor Lu put his hands behind his back, turned his somewhat fierce bald head, and glanced around. Especially when he saw Zhou Heng and others lowering their heads in front of his gaze, another cold snort came out of his nose, and the others beside him. When the students saw the instructor coming, they all told the whole story. Wang Qi was deceived by Zhou Heng and others and ran to the girls' area. When he came down to argue with these people, he was kicked to the ground, and then Fang Lei came to help. In this case, let's not do it again. If I see someone bullying a weak person in the future and take action at will, the rules of our martial arts school are not just for show. The bald instructor Lu glared at Wang Qi and the others with a stern tone, which frightened Zhou Heng and the others so much that they immediately trembled and quickly helped them out of here. Fang Lei, go ask your hunting team to hurry up. We'll set off in 10 minutes. And you, Wang Qi, caused trouble on the first day you came to the martial arts gym. This is your first offender, so I'll forgive you. For you, go upstairs to the left and find your seat. Instructor Lu looked at Wang Qi's tone and was thinking a little strangely. He was still thinking about what kind of talent this boy had. Yesterday, he actually asked the owner of the gym to tell him to take care of him when he met him in the future. Generally speaking, he didn't know how to tolerate it, but he dared to do so despite the huge disparity in strength. You are such a brat when you come forward to argue. After saying that, he turned around and left. Instructor Lu and Fang Lei seemed to know each other. From the tone of his voice, Fang Lei is still a member of the hunting team. Wang Qi turned his head and looked at Fang Lei at the side carefully and curiously. Junior brother, you should practice hard in the future. Only when you are strong can you not be bullied by others. I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. Fang Lei looked at Wang Qi and seemed to be fine, and warned Wang Qi meaningfully. Senior sister Fang, are you also a member of the hunting team? When Fang Lei heard this, the expression on her face was a little unnatural. She didn't know why Wang Qi asked this. Yes, today Instructor Lu will lead the team, and several of our groups will go to the suburbs to hunt wild beasts for actual combat training. When Wang Qi heard this, his body, which was still a little stooped due to pain, instantly stood up straight. His words were filled with excitement. I have also signed up for the hunting group. When can I participate in the hunting? So that was it. Fang Lei thought Wang Qi had some opinion about the identity of the hunting team. When she heard that Wang Qi was anxious to join the hunting, she immediately opened her eyes wide and was slightly startled. She glanced at Wang Qi up and down and trembled. There was a trace of vague ridicule in his mouth. Just you. You'd better practice hard, otherwise you will only become food for wild beasts when you go out. When you reach the level of a warrior, the instructor who teaches you will arrange training for you according to the teaching plan. I have to leave, goodbye. Wang Qi, who was standing on the spot, looked at Fang Lei's retreating back, with a trace of expectation on his face. At the level of martial artist, Wang Qi clenched his fist tightly and shouted, "Thank you, Senior Sister Fang." After changing his clothes, Wang Qi didn't know what to do next. At this time, like other students, he was waiting quietly in the hall. After a while, there was another sound of footsteps at the door. Looking up, two slender figures walked in. Junior students and newly admitted students come and gather. These are two slender men, with well-proportioned bodies but looking a little lean against the backdrop of white clothes. At the same time, the two men look very similar, as if they are twin brothers. The students scattered around consciously stood in two square formations, one with more people and one with less people. The square formation with more people was 4 or 5 times the number with less people, with nearly 100 people, while the other side had only there were 10 or 20 people. Wang Qi looked at the people on both sides, a little confused, and stood casually behind the square formation with more people. Is there any new student here? Come to the front. One of the men held his head high and his square face looked flatly at the students on both sides. Have. Wang Qi raised his hands and walked out from behind, wearing a white training uniform. This was a benefit provided by the martial arts gym. Wang Qi, who had not planned to buy it at first, now also had his own training uniform. There were 5 people standing up with Wang Qi. The 5 people stood side by side at the front. They heard the man continued to say solemnly, "Those who have paid tuition will stand in the team on your left, and those who joined the hunting group will stand on your right, in the team." At this time, it was discovered that except for Wang Qi, the other 4 people were standing in the team on the left. "Are you the only one who joined the hunting group?" Wang Qi listened to this order and quickly stood in the group with the smaller number of people. At this time, the boys and girls in the hunting group showed a smile on their faces, and seemed to be very happy about the new members. On the other side of the team, most of the students looked at Wang Qi with contempt, and there was almost no place to put the disgust on their faces. "Okay, let me introduce the new students. My name is Liang Xing, and the other one is Liang Yu. We 2 brothers will be your instructors in the junior class in the future. The hunting group will be taught by my brother Liang Yu. Get to know your instructor, we look alike, don't make the mistake." The Liang brothers seemed to be more lively. The elder brother stood aside with a dull expression, not knowing what he was thinking. As soon as the instructor named Liang Xing finished speaking, Liang Yu turned her head and said calmly, "Hunting team, follow me." After saying that, he walked out, and Wang Qi's team immediately followed. Along the way, he kept looking at the surrounding environment. There were huge martial arts arenas and neatly arranged arenas. There were trees on both sides of the road. Wang Qi also saw a place that seemed to be similar to a hospital. There were many people suffering from injuries. Students with minor injuries are constantly moving and practicing. At this time, Wang Qi was still thinking about the humiliation he had just suffered. He was kicked to the ground and couldn't stand up. This revenge must be avenged. This Zhou Heng is also a 4th-level warrior. According to this, Zhou Heng's current strength should have just reached 1,600 kilograms, which is enough power for 16 people. If Wang Qi's physical attributes had not increased with such a strong strength, I am afraid that he would have been the direct kick caused his spleen to bleed, and he suffered severe internal injuries. How cruel! He had never met before and actually dealt such a heavy hand. Wang Qi, who was walking at the end of the team, gritted his teeth, clenched his fists, and was trembling with anger. He secretly vowed in his heart to get this thing back. After a while, Wang Qi and others came to an empty square under the leadership of Liang Yu. The Baiyu Martial Arts Hall is also huge, and there are dozens of various buildings and squares along the way. Liang Yu, who was standing at the front, raised her hand and looked at the time on her watch. "It's 9 o'clock now, and we're going to have an hour of basic bodybuilding exercises to warm up. What's the new guy's name? Do you know the basic bodybuilding techniques?" His voice was a little hoarse, and Wang Qi quickly responded, "My name is Wang Qi, and I practice basic bodybuilding exercises." Liang Yu nodded when she saw this, then waved her hand and continued, "Disperse and get ready." Dozens of people in the hunting group spread out, keeping some distance between themselves. Then they started practicing individually. Is this what this martial arts gym does? Wang Qi had some doubts in his heart, but time could not be wasted. Only by practicing hard could he get revenge. The basic physical training method has been improved to the 2nd level after yesterday's practice. I don't know what has changed. Wang Qi also calmed down, adjusted his state and started practicing. "You, go faster. How did you learn this posture? Use some force with your hands. Didn't you eat this morning?" At this time, Liang Yu was constantly shuttled among these students, correcting some problems. At this time, he seemed to have changed into a different person. He no longer had the feeling of not being fond of words just now, and became a little fanatical and harsh. Wang Qi observed his attribute panel while practicing. Yesterday's practice plus the improvement of attributes, he could do it more than 20 times at a time, and soon he did it 100 times. Originally it was a little increase in free attributes, but now it turned out that it grew to 2 o'clock. This is really an unexpected surprise. What are the benefits of improving one's skills? Wang Qi's heart was suddenly full of energy. He didn't know the benefits of other practitioners' basic exercise methods. Looking at the newly added attribute points, he quickly added them to his physique and devoted himself to training again. Okay, it's almost time. Stop for a moment. While Wang Qi was moving while practicing, he continued to absorb the attribute points falling around him. However, there were too few attribute points. The largest was only 0.3, and the smallest was only 0.1. It was better than nothing, so Wang Qi still collected them all. Middle. Wang Qi, who was still immersed in cultivation, quickly adjusted his state when he heard the voice, stopped, and looked at Liang Yu's next movements. Wang Qi, right, very good. Liang Yu stood in front, her eyes sharp, looking straight at Wang Qi through several people, her eyes full of approval. Look at how long some of you have been in the martial arts gym. You are still not as proficient as a newcomer in a basic exercise method. The standard is really shameful. Having just used Wang Qi's standard training movements as a reference, Liang Yu suddenly felt that what the previous students were practicing was really bad, and she glared at these students with a stern tone. This training method will be taught in the basic martial arts knowledge courses after graduation from the cultural department of the school, as well as in various martial arts schools. This basic exercise method is the most fundamental training method promoted by the country. It has low difficulty and wide adaptability. Its effect is also very good. Don't let up on your practice in the future. This basic physical training method turned out to be a training method promoted by the country. It required a strength of 100 kilograms, and it was still at a relatively easy level. Wang Qi thought to himself when he heard this. It seems that there are higher level training methods, but he didn't know. When can I learn these methods? Yes. Facing the basic but important cultivation methods, these students also deeply remembered what the instructor said in their hearts. Both the enrollment standards and fees of the school's martial arts department are too high. Students from ordinary families have little chance of enrolling, so you choose the martial arts gym, and our martial arts gym came into being. But as long as you practice hard, we will buy you martial arts school as a cooperative martial arts school with Yongfang Martial Arts School. If you perform well, you will also have the opportunity to enter the school's martial arts department to study and practice. It turns out that's the case. No wonder my sister came to Bayou Martial Arts Hall to sign up for training after finishing her education. There was such a reason. After hearing this, Wang Qi's previous doubts were immediately solved, and his heart suddenly became enlightened. The surrounding martial arts students were extremely excited when they heard the news. Martial artists practice, polish their bodies, strengthen their blood and energy, and improve their strength. And many students in our hunting group come from poor families. If they want to practice and have more resources to practice, they have to go out to hunt wild beasts for training or even in exchange for resources and alliance coins. Liang Yu stood there with her hands behind her back, tall and straight, with a serious look on her face. At this time, Wang Qi was listening to the instructor teaching some knowledge, and looking at the 12 usable attribute points that he had just practiced and absorbed. He was thinking about how to use them. Suddenly, he heard Liang Yu's high-pitched tone, and he was going to give these students a set of boxing techniques. Next, I will show you the boxing techniques I taught you before, especially for the newcomers, watch out. The rest of you review the old and learn the new, and fill in the gaps. After saying that, his body sank, and Liang Yu gathered all his strength at this time. His waist and horse were one, and his legs were like the roots of an old tree, stepping tightly on the ground, and then he clenched his fists and hit the air. Wang Qi looked intently, and saw that Liang Yu's hands were like phantoms, and each move was extremely fast. Between the opening and closing, Wang Qi's eyes were sore, and he rubbed his eyes quickly and looked carefully at Liang Yu, who was demonstrating the boxing techniques in front of him. Ding, learned the skill, Feishu Fist. Hearing the familiar prompt sound and the knowledge constantly transmitted in his mind, Wang Qi almost jumped up with excitement, and he learned it just like that. This system is really awesome. Then, the familiar panel in his mind was lowered below the skill column and a skill column was added. Among them is Feishichuang Fist, proficiency 0/20th skill damage 120%. Wang Qi, who was still receiving knowledge of boxing, heard Liang Yu's hoarse voice again. Feishichuang Fist, after mastering it, it can increase your attack power by 20%. If you can practice to a higher level, like me now, it can increase your attack by 50%. If you want to hunt wild beasts, this boxing is a basic martial art that you must learn now. Okay, practice well in the next period of time. Some of the people in the hunting group seemed to have learned some skills from the demonstration just now, with excitement on their faces, while others lowered their heads and thought about what the problem was when they were practicing. After receiving the information in his mind, Wang Qi was now able to use the Feishu Fist completely and smoothly. The hand movements were also performed in a decent manner, and they looked very similar to what Liang Yu demonstrated just now, except that they lacked a bit of momentum. Liang Yu was checking everyone's training status, and immediately saw that Wang Qi was able to punch Feishu well, and was more proficient than some hunting group students who had been learning for a long time. Liang Yu was surprised. The boss stared at Wang Qi with a shocked expression. This guy was so skilled. Could it be that he had learned Feishu boxing there before? Wang Qi, who was practicing boxing, felt even more amazing at this time. This boxing technique seemed to increase his control over the body a lot. He only felt that the power of the body gradually condensed into one, and the power attached to the fist also gradually increased, and it was actually faint. There was a fist wind in the air, fast and powerful. Repeatedly and repeatedly, Wang Qi felt more and more proficient, and his control over his body became stronger and stronger. His energy was concentrated and never dispersed. It felt like a punch could punch through the steel plate, and the power was very powerful. Liang Yu was standing near Wang Qi at this time, with a hint of appreciation on her cold face, and nodded secretly. This guy is very talented. He has been leading the junior class for so long. It is very rare to be like Wang Qi. Oneself are strong, so as long as one does not take risks when hunting wild beasts in the wild, the risk of injury can be greatly reduced, and the road to martial arts can go further. This Feishu fist is different from the basic body building method. It consumes much less physical energy than the basic body building method. However, the effects it brings to Wang Qi are very different. One is to absorb energy and increase qi and blood, and the other is to increased control over body strength, both inside and outside, has greatly improved Wang Qi's strength. After dozens of times, Wang Qi stopped what he was doing, closed his eyes and adjusted his breathing. He took a look at the proficiency of this skill. It had increased by 5 points. This proficiency increased faster than the basic exercise method. A lot, so you can reach the second floor quickly. With systematic help and my own hard work, I don't believe that I, Wang Qi, can't succeed in cultivation and stand out. Opening his eyes and looking at the person standing in front of him, Wang Qi was so frightened that he hid behind him. When he took a closer look, it turned out to be the instructor Liang Yu. Wang Qi breathed a sigh of relief and asked, "Instructor, what are you doing? You scared me to death." When Liang Yu saw Wang Qi's appearance, a smile that was uglier than crying appeared on her cold face. She grinned and said, "You. Very good." Hearing this, a smile appeared on Wang Qi's young face. He took a step back, raised his hand and bowed to Liang Yu. "Thank you, instructor, for the compliment." Liang Yu nodded when she saw this. This guy is very polite and respects teachers. Yes, I hope he can keep it up in the future. How many people forget the most basic etiquette, justice and shame after they become successful in cultivation, and there is no morality at all, and openly said that he was powerful and should not use these secular rules to regulate himself. How pathetic. In the afternoon, we will go to the wild for actual combat. You should also go and have a look. Hearing Liang Yu's words, Wang Qi almost fainted from happiness. He had waited for this moment for a long time. Wang Qi suddenly stood up straight, smiled broadly, and said loudly, "Yes. Instructor. I just gained 10 usable attribute points during my training, now I have to think about how to use them. We have to go to the actual battle in the afternoon. It is unclear how many unstable factors there are in the unknown wilderness. Strength is the capital of everything. Speed and spirit are still a bit weak. The functions of strength, constitution, and speed are now known, but what exactly does this spirit do? Last time I added 0.9, I didn't find any special changes." Thinking about some things in his previous life, Wang Qi vaguely had an answer in his mind. Add other attributes first. Wang Qi concentrated his attention and thought about the role of his body's spiritual attributes. Memory, intelligence, or thoughts. Just as Wang Qi was thinking, another voice came out in his mind. Ding, the spirit is helpful for memory, intelligence, and thoughts. It's just that the host's current realm is too low and many of the functions of the spirit have not yet been discovered. It turns out that this is the case. Wang Qi suddenly understood a lot. The functions of this system are very similar to many games he played in his previous life. If this is the case, then there is no need to add this item for the time being, and this attribute will be added later when needed or when there are excess attribute points. Looking at the remaining 10 attributes, Wang Qi added 3 points of speed, 3 points of constitution, and 4 points of strength. The current properties are: Host, Wang Qi, Kung Fu, the second level of basic body training, 0/100. Skill, Flying Fist, proficiency 0/20, skill damage 120%. Strength, 16, constitution, 15, speed, 10, spirit, 2. Attribute points, none. There is still nothing in the wealth and equipment columns. Okay, it's almost time. Let's go to the cafeteria for dinner later. After dinner, go to the lobby of the morning rest area to gather and set off. The time was approaching noon, and Liang Yu also asked the members of the hunting group to rest. When they heard that they were eating, the members around them looked eager. I didn't eat in the cafeteria for 2 days over the weekend. I really miss it. That's right, the school food is great, but it's a pity that it's only one meal. If you want to keep eating at school, you have to pay alliance coins or use our hunting points to buy it. You have to save the hunting points to earn enough admission points for the next year. I wonder what's delicious for lunch. The boys and girls around were talking among themselves. The food in the cafeteria seemed to be extremely delicious to them. Hearing the discussions around him, Wang Qi was looking forward to it. What was the difference between the food in the martial arts hall and that at home? It made these people feel distracted. Martial Arts Hall Cafeteria. Although Baiyu Martial Arts Hall was not the largest and most famous martial arts hall in Yongfeng Town, the students of the martial arts hall were crowded in the cafeteria. Some students with strong strength were so fierce that they didn't even have to queue up. Someone helped them get their meals. Some students even cut in line at the stalls, but the students behind dared to be angry but didn't dare to speak. Wang Qi felt mixed emotions when he saw this. Although strength was the kingly way, these people used their strength in the wrong place. Wang Qi, here. Hearing someone calling him, Wang Qi turned his head and looked in the direction of the voice. It was Wang Mengfei standing not far away and waving at Wang Qi. I didn't see my sister all morning, and I didn't know where they were practicing. Wang Qi walked over and found that Wang Mengfei had already prepared food for him. Just as he was about to sit down to eat and chat with his sister about what happened at noon today, he heard a familiar voice. Brother-in-law, we meet again. The person who came was Yan Fa, whom he met in the mall yesterday. At this time, he also brought a plate of sumptuous food and placed it on the table, and sat down by himself. Why is it you again? Wang Mengfei's happy mood when she saw her family was immediately destroyed by the appearance of Yan Fa. She frowned and a trace of impatience flashed in her eyes. Wang Qi was helpless when he saw this. This guy was really haunting and could even come over for lunch. But this was his sister's private matter, and he couldn't intervene. He had to lower his head and look at the exquisite food in front of him. Seeing this, he had a great appetite and started eating without saying a word. To be honest, the food tasted really good. I don't know what ingredients it was made of. After eating it, I felt that the fatigue of morning practice was also diluted a lot. But now Wang Qi's appetite has increased. He put down the chopsticks in his hand, stretched out his tongue and licked his lips, feeling a little unsatisfied. Looking at the plate of food in front of Yan Fa opposite, Wang Qi's eyes revealed a desire to eat. I saw you and my brother-in-law here, so I'm going to eat with you. Yan Fa still had the same flattering smile as yesterday, and said with a shameless face. Wang Mengfei was helpless. This situation often happens, and she has long been accustomed to it. Apart from expressing dissatisfaction verbally, she did not do anything else. Wang Qi, how was your practice this morning? After eating, Wang Mengfei stared at Wang Qi with big eyes, and looked at him carefully. This was the first time to practice in the martial arts hall, and she didn't know how this guy was doing. Not bad, the instructor taught us Feishu boxing, and will take us to the wild for actual combat in the afternoon. Wang Qi also smiled. What, you just joined the martial arts hall today, and you're going to the wild? Wang Mengfei was even more surprised to hear Wang Qi's words at this time, and she almost choked herself with the water she just drank. She has been here for half a year, but there are only wild beasts caught by the instructors in the martial arts hall for them to occasionally see the power of wild beasts in the suburbs, and this often scares many students to pee their pants. Is this hunting group really so brutal that they have to participate in hunting on the first day? Yan Fa, who was standing by, was also very surprised and asked in disbelief, "Brother-in-law, have you joined the hunting group?" Wang Qi nodded. "My idol, you are really amazing. If I succeed in my training in the future, I will trouble you to take care of me." Yan Fa hurriedly touched his mouth with his hand and grabbed Wang Qi with his hand that still had rice residue but was slapped away by Wang Qi. Wang Qi clapped his hands in disdain and blew twice, fearing that the rice residue would remain in his hands. "You are so disgusting." Yan Fa smiled embarrassedly and buried his head in eating again. Wang Qi looked at the two people. "I'll leave first. The instructor said that we will gather after dinner. If there is anything, we can talk about it when we go home at night." Standing up, Wang Qi looked at the two people, and they did look like a couple. "Leaving now? Well, you can just stand back and watch in the afternoon. With your strength, your instructor will probably just let you see the world, haha." Wang Mengfei laughed loudly, and this seemingly indifferent words could not hide the concern on her face. Rest area lobby. The hunting team members who practiced together in the morning have almost arrived. The instructors are also waiting here quietly. "Wang Qi, come here." Liang Yu waved to Wang Qi, who was not far away, signaling him to come over. Wang Qi, who was resting on the side, heard instructor Liang Yu calling him, and hurriedly walked up to him, looking at him, not knowing what he was going to say. "I just asked the bald guy, is your strength 122 kilograms? Liang Yu looked Wang Qi up and down. His performance in the morning and the speed and strength of his punches were not like what a practitioner who had just stepped into the martial arts could do. He looked at him with a scrutinizing look in his eyes. There were so many tests yesterday. What's wrong, instructor?" Wang Qi was also confused by the question. "Is there any problem?" His face was full of doubt and puzzlement. "Your performance this morning is not what a person who has just started practicing can achieve, and I have been practicing boxing for many years. I can see that the strength of your punches is definitely not limited to this." Hearing this, Wang Qi couldn't help but be stunned, with surprise on his face. Thinking back to the practice in the afternoon, he felt that the strength of his body was no longer as loose as before, but became controlled by himself. Could it be this reason? "Instructor, when I practiced boxing in the morning, I could feel that my ability to control my strength has improved a lot, and the use of my body strength has improved a lot. Is this the reason? Punch my palm, let me see." After hearing what Wang Qi said, Liang Yu stood up, shook his long gown, stretched out a palm suspended in the air, facing Wang Qi. When Wang Qi heard this, he also wanted to have an understanding of his own strength. He stepped back and got ready to use the Feishu fist he had just learned in the afternoon. "Sorry, instructor." The moment Wang Qi's fist touched Liang Yu's palm, Liang Yu's eyes, which were originally calm, narrowed slightly. This was not 122 kilograms. The power of this fist was probably much higher than that of a student who had just entered the 4th level of martial arts. Liang Yu was extremely shocked. How could this be possible? Could it be the power that a person who had just entered the martial arts training could exert? Could this be a genius, a natural supernatural power? Wang Qi struck with all his strength, as if the stone cow entering the sea did not make any waves in Liang Yu's hands, and his body was like a rock, without wavering at all. But how could Wang Qi know that Liang Yu was now extremely shocked by his power? "How is it, instructor, what is my current strength level?" Faced with Wang Qi's inquiry, Liang Yu did not answer but looked at Wang Qi meaningfully and said, "You." "Very good." Then he shouted, "Assemble." Wang Qi was even more confused. He frowned and looked at Liang Yu, who was gathering the team in confusion. What is going on? 23 people were riding in a large bus dedicated to Baiyu Martial Arts School, and the bus was not full yet. "We have received news that the strength of the beasts in the suburbs seems to have improved a lot recently. Don't take today's actual battle lightly, especially the new members who have just joined. Don't participate in the battle today. Stay with me and watch. Let's see how your senior brothers and sisters hunt wild beasts." Sitting in the front row, Liang Yu's hoarse voice reached the ears of everyone in the car, instructing the members of the hunting group. "Yes," everyone responded in unison. "Okay, there's still a while, let's have a good rest in the car." There were no more voices in the carriage, and the atmosphere became tense. Only the sound of breathing came one after another, highlighting the unrest in the hearts of all the members. As the bus quickly drove out of the densely populated Yongfeng town, the surrounding scenery also changed significantly. Different from the town, the area outside the town seemed to be larger, with vast plains and mysterious things that were impossible to see. Clear view of the dense woods inside. After leaving the town, the car drove for about half an hour before it stopped. Wang Qi looked out the car window. It seemed that this place was deserted, and there were basically no traces of human life. Okay, get out of the car, gather together, and take out weapons and equipment from the trunk of the car. Go quickly. And weapons and equipment, are there any benefits like this in martial arts schools? Weapons control in this world is not that strict, but weapons are very expensive and ordinary people cannot afford them. Moreover, the beasts are powerful, rough-skinned and thick flesh. If they were to fight with bare hands, they would be at a disadvantage before they even started. The martial arts gym also provided weapons and equipment, which would be of great help to the members of the hunting team. After quickly getting out of the car, a member of the hunting group was standing at the back of the car shouting to the others, "Line up." Then he opened the trunk of the car and saw dozens of pairs of dark boxing gloves neatly placed inside. A pair was distributed to each person, and these members couldn't put it down after getting the gloves. But seeing that most of the people had received their own weapons, except for himself and a few members, Wang Qi suddenly became anxious. Wouldn't he be given one? "Senior brother, why don't you have mine?" Wang Qi sounded anxious, took a step forward, leaned forward and asked. When the senior brother heard this, he didn't know what to do for a while. In the past, newly joined hunting group members spent the first few times mainly watching the battles to adapt to this kind of bloody hunting. No one said that they were anxious after joining the hunting group for the first time, asked for weapons. Then he turned his head and looked helplessly at the instructor Liang Yu, asking for help. Seeing this, Liang Yu nodded to the students who were distributing weapons, and said at the same time, "Give Wang Qi weapons, he will join the hunt later." There were several new team members without weapons nearby. When they heard this, they felt very uncomfortable. These newcomers can participate, why can they only watch? With a hint of dissatisfaction in their voices and a hint of anger on their faces, several people said to their instructor Liang Yu, "Instructor, why does he still have weapons and participate in hunting when he comes so late? We came earlier than him, and we only have can you watch?" Liang Yu looked at them coldly and said in a stern tone, "HMPH, don't talk so much nonsense, you can just watch it later. If you don't obey the order, don't stay in my hunting group." These people immediately became quiet and did not dare to disobey the instructor's order. He has seen Wang Qi's power before, and it is more than enough to deal with the low-level beasts in this area. Although he has not experienced this actual hunting, he believes that with Wang Qi's learning ability, he will soon surpass everyone here and become this hunter, the strongest in the group. These other people have mediocre talents. They have just joined the martial arts gym and have just stepped into the first level of martial arts. Their own strength has not yet been stabilized. There is a difference between hunting wild beasts and dying. Wang Qi took the glove and looked at it carefully. The iron weapon was very soft on the inside when worn on the hand, and could wrap Wang Qi's fist very well. Wang Qi couldn't help but secretly marveled, the glove of his left hand was on his fingers. There are 4 sharp iron thorns at the joints, and on the right hand there is a sharp short blade across the protrusion on the back of the hand. Looking at the gloves carefully, the attribute panel in Wang Qi's mind changed again, and a line of small words appeared in the equipment column. Equipment. Standard gloves attribute. Strength +1. It can actually increase my strength. My current strength is a full 17 points, which is really awesome. At this time, Liang Yu's hoarse voice was heard again. The martial arts in our Baiyu Martial Arts School are mainly boxing and sword skills, one far and one close. What you learn is Feishu Fist, and the weapons are the standard boxing gloves. If you have the opportunity to learn sword skills or other martial arts in the future, you can also apply to the martial arts school, or buy weapons yourself. Quote, "No wonder everyone has the same weapons, and the one that suits them is the best. These people are learning Feishu Fist. If they were allowed to choose other weapons, they might not be able to use them, let alone increase their combat effectiveness." Wang Qi, who was armed, was eager to try. He looked around to see if there was any wild beast that he could practice his skills with. The woods 1 kilometer ahead on the left. That's our hunting destination. Go at full speed. Liang Yu watched everyone put on their equipment, immediately gathered the team and headed towards the destination. I saw all the hunting students around me running towards each other, with the strong ones running in front, and the weak ones trying to catch up, trying not to fall behind. When Wang Qi saw this, he quickly chased after him. The increase in attribute points increased his speed a lot. However, the team members around him had already dropped attribute points in the morning, and now Wang Qi had not gained anything along the way. Suddenly his eyes lit up, and he saw a huge attribute light ball falling from Liang Yu in the front. While running towards it, Wang Qi quickly picked it up. Ding! Get 10 attribute points. So much. The number of attribute points obtained after a whole morning of hard work has just caught up with the size of this attribute light ball. What kind of strength does this instructor Liang have? He is so powerful. From now on, I will still have to follow the instructor closely to have something to eat. Increase 4 points of strength, 4 points of constitution, 2 points of speed. After using the attribute points, Wang Qi's feet became a little faster. The attributes are now: Host, Wang Qi, Kung Fu, the second level of basic body training, 3/100. Skill, Flying Catkin's Fist. Proficiency 5/20, skill damage 120%. Strength, 21. Constitution, 19. Speed, 12. Spirit, 2. Attribute points, none. Wealth, none. Equipment, standard boxing gloves. Stop. Everyone came to a relatively open space in the woods. Liang Yu in front stopped and stretched out his palm to signal the team members behind him to stop. We are almost there. Pay attention to the surroundings. I will go around to survey. If there are no accidents, I will throw drugs to lure wild animals. Get ready. As soon as the voice fell, Liang Yu's figure disappeared, and the speed was so fast that it was impossible to catch. It seems that the preparations for hunting wild animals must be done well. Drugs to lure wild animals must be used. There seem to be many tricks in this. After a while, Liang Yu's figure returned to the original place, and his long gown was still flowing, without the slightest mess. 10 minutes later, 1 kilometer radius, the hunt begins. Act alone or in a team, get ready as soon as possible. The cold tone was emotionless, like an emotionless killer. Instructor, why do you still use drugs to lure wild animals? Wang Qi was very curious about the instructor's behavior just now, and expressed his doubts. You are too weak. There are many wild animals in this wild area, and there are even many powerful monsters. If you are allowed to move freely and attract powerful wild animals or even monsters, you will die without knowing how to die. What I just used is specially used to lure low-level wild animals that often appear in this area. The smell of the drug is their favorite smell. Chapter 31. After Liang Yu finished speaking, he said to a member of the hunting team, Ruan Kang, go and tell the new Wang Qi about the rules of hunting points. The man named Ruan Kang responded, and then told Wang Qi about the rules of hunting points. Hunting points are what we must get. Killing a level 1 beast, 1 point, a level 2 beast, 4 points, and a level 3 beast 16 points. And so on. The annual task of a level 1 warrior is 100 points. Level 2 warriors get 400 points, and level 3 warriors get 1600 points. If we want to stay in the martial arts hall hunting group, we will embark on an endless hunt. Brother Wang Qi. Liang Yu kept talking about the relevant knowledge, and Ruan Kang explained the rules of martial arts hall hunting points, which immediately solved Wang Qi's doubts and also learned more rules. The requirements for obtaining hunting points are very high. If you want to stay in the hunting group, it seems that you have to kill at least 100 beasts of the same level. Liang Yu, who was standing over there, looked at the time, and her ears twitched twice. She looked at everyone and said, Let's start the hunt. The beasts are here. If you can't defeat them, don't fight. If you can kill them, remember to drag the beast's body back. After saying that, she jumped violently, holding 2 hunting team members who did not participate in the battle with both hands, and stood on a big tree not far away from her, looking around. Hearing this, Wang Qi's heart suddenly became nervous. Yes, several members of the hunting team around him who looked strong had already rushed around alone, looking for targets, and seemed to be acting alone. Others seemed to have fixed partners, hunting in groups of 2 or 3. Only Wang Qi stood alone, at a loss. Everyone was skeptical of this newcomer. He participated in the hunt for the first time, and didn't know the details. If he was not strong enough, he would inevitably be a drag. No one came to partner with Wang Qi. Wang Qi, don't stand there. There are a few weakest first-level beasts 200 meters behind you. Go hunt them. Before he knew what to do, Instructor Liang's reminder had already reached Wang Qi's ears. The first time was really embarrassing. Wang Qi nodded to Instructor Liang on the tree, turned around and ran into the dense forest behind him. This was the first time he hunted a beast head-on. Wang Qi's hands in his boxing gloves couldn't help but tremble a little. He just didn't know if he was nervous, afraid, or excited. As he approached the place the instructor said, Wang Qi gradually slowed down his pace, carefully observing the surroundings, looking for the few weakest first-level beasts the instructor just mentioned. Wang Qi stared and saw two fat rabbits with gray and white bodies in a bush. They were lying on each other, and he didn't know what they were doing. Ding! 2 first-level beasts were found. How could this rabbit grow so big? It looked nearly half a meter long, and its figure was like a bucket, but it was actually a first-level beast. Just as Wang Qi approached, the 2 rabbits turned their heads to look at Wang Qi, and then they pounced on him with their 4 legs. They didn't run away. Will the beasts here attack humans? Seeing the 2 rabbits pounce on him, Wang Qi was not afraid at all, and stretched out his fists to use the flying fist. The huge force directly knocked the 2 rabbits out, and they fell to the ground and twitched twice before they stopped moving, as if they had no breath. Is it that simple? Wang Qi looked at his fists with some doubts. This hunting didn't seem to be as difficult and terrifying as he thought. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing a level 1 beast for the first time, and get attribute points +1. Ding! Get 200 alliance coins. What is this? Listening to the system's prompt sound, killing a beast can indeed gain attribute points. A level 1 beast gives you 1 attribute point. 10 is 10 points. 100 is 100 points. Wouldn't your strength increase rapidly? And there are actually alliance coins, it's so cool. Thinking of this, Wang Qi was full of energy and wanted to find another beast to kill it and get attribute points. Ding! The host has completed the first kill of the beast and activated the level function. What does the level function mean? Wang Qi looked at the panel in his mind and added a level column in the second column. It said level, warrior level 4. Am I a warrior level 4 now? How is this divided? Wang Qi has not yet fully understood this mysterious system. Host, the system has compared the information collected recently, and the host's current strength is at the level of warrior level 4. Thinking of killing 2 beasts just now, how did it increase a little attribute? The host's level exceeds the beast by 2 levels. Except for the first kill reward, the beast with a strength lower than the host by 2 levels will no longer increase the host's attribute points. Is there such a saying? Wang Qi was still thinking about picking this soft persimmon to make himself improve his strength faster, but the fire of hope that had just been ignited was shattered. A trace of helplessness appeared on his face, and he walked forward to pick up the bodies of the 2 rabbit beasts and put them aside. In recent days, Wang Qi has understood a lot more about how to obtain attribute points. Attribute points will be dropped when a warrior is practicing or exercising, and basically only once a day. A level 1 warrior will drop 0.1, a level 2 warrior will drop 0.2, and so on. In addition, practicing martial arts and eating the flesh and blood of monsters will also gain attribute points, but the benefits of eating these meats are too small and not cost-effective. Only the second-level basic bodybuilding method of the current martial arts can bring Wang Qi 2 attribute points for every 100 times, which is quite good. Finally, hunting wild beasts can not only gain attribute points, but also earn alliance coins. Although it may be a little dangerous, the benefits are the greatest and can also grow unlimitedly. As the main way to improve strength, this has the highest benefits. Moreover, although his strength is sufficient, his actual combat level is too far behind. He was kicked by Zhou Heng in the morning and couldn't resist it. This actual combat ability must be improved. Actual combat is the best choice. After thinking about it secretly, Wang Qi shook his body and patrolled around to see if there were any wild beasts that he could hunt. There were explorers around, and suddenly a gray-yellow figure jumped out from the side and ran straight to Wang Qi's head. Ding! A level 3 beast was found. Wang Qi's hair stood up immediately, and a feeling he had never had before came over him, which was very terrifying. Wang Qi had no time to attack, and his passive body rolled to the ground. He felt a warm sensation on his forehead, and when he reached out to touch it, he saw that his fingers were stained with bright red blood. He was actually cut by the gray-yellow figure on his forehead. He was injured, but he was still a little careless. After dealing with the two weakest rabbit beasts, he relaxed his vigilance. If it weren't for his quick reaction speed, he would have been smashed in the head by the gray-yellow figure and died on the spot. Squeak! Wang Qi looked intently at the gray-yellow figure, who was clinging to a big tree at the side and roaring at Wang Qi sharply. This is a beast that looks like a fox. Wang Qi doesn't know what it is called. He only remembers that this monster is very fast. This level 3 beast is much stronger than the two rabbits just now. Wang Qi has suffered a loss once. He focused his attention on the gray-yellow figure on the tree, paying attention to its every move to avoid being lost again. The man and the beast looked at each other. Wang Qi was judging the speed of the beast in his heart. Although it was very fast, he was not completely unable to control it. The gray-yellow figure also lay quietly on the tree trunk, as if looking for Wang Qi's flaw. The best defense is offense. The level 3 beast is one level lower than my level 4 warrior. My strength should be enough to kill him. Wang Qi fiercely used the flying catkins fist to hit it, but the beast dodged it and punched the tree trunk. The huge force directly hit the tree trunk, and sawdust flew, leaving a bull-sized scar, and countless leaves fell down. The beast screamed even more angrily after being attacked, and jumped towards Wang Qi, heading straight for Wang Qi's face, with its sharp claws exposed. He quickly protected his face with both hands. The head is one of the most important organs in the human body and is extremely fragile. If it is hit by this beast, it is a small matter to break the skin and bleed, but it will cause great damage to the organs. There was a sound of metal clashing between the gloves in his hand and the claws of the beast. The beast failed to hit, and kicked Wang Qi's chest with both feet, and then turned and jumped away. This must find an opportunity to kill with one blow. If the beast of speed continues like this, it will be injured if it does not die. After a back and forth, suddenly, Wang Qi's eyes flashed. Now, the beast seemed to lack stamina when it pounced, revealing a flaw. Wang Qi dodged fiercely, and used the flying fist with his right hand. The sharp fist blade immediately ripped the beast's intestines open. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the first kill of a level 3 monster, attribute points +3. Get attribute points +0.3. Get 300 alliance coins. 3 consecutive prompts let Wang Qi know that the beast had been killed by him. This beast contributed 3.3 attribute points to Wang Qi. 3 points are the first kill reward, and 0.3 should be the attribute that he can get by killing a level 3 beast. Wang Qi was not very satisfied with the number. If he could get 3 attribute points by killing one, it would be a good thing. But Wang Qi had no choice. Add this attribute to strength, and use the remaining 0.3 when it is an integer. Ding! A level 2 beast was found. He. Hearing this, Wang Qi smiled. Attribute points came to the door again. If it was a level 4 beast, he would still be worried. This level 2 should be much easier to deal with than the level 3 just now, and this is the first kill, so there should be a first kill reward. A gray cat came near Wang Qi, and it seemed that it didn't take Wang Qi seriously. It ran straight to the body of the beast that Wang Qi had just killed. The attraction of blood and flesh was much greater than Wang Qi. What a beast, you still want to steal my spoils. Wang Qi quietly moved to the front, and used the flying catkins fist, and went straight to the head of the beast, and immediately broke it into pieces, like a broken watermelon. Ding! The host completed the first kill of the second level beast, and obtained attribute points +2 inches. Ding! Obtained attribute points +0.2. Ding! Obtained 200 alliance coins. It was easy. It seems that there are strong and weak beasts among them, so it is better to be vigilant, so as not to capsize in the ditch and lose your life. A lion will use all its strength to fight a rabbit, not to mention martial arts training and hunting beasts, and there must be no slackness. These beasts of level 1, 2 and 3 are still too weak for me, and they have few attribute points. I still need to find higher level beasts and kill them. Not only will the attribute points increase quickly, but they will also bring me more wealth. But I don't know what the highest level of the monster that Instructor Liang just lured is. Can I encounter a level 4 beast? These beasts have provided Wang Qi with 700 alliance coins. The beast corpses now need to be exchanged for hunting points. Only when the points are enough can they be sold for alliance coins. Now I don't know many beasts, and I don't know their habits, strengths, and specialties. This is a very big problem for me. It seems that I have to make up for this knowledge after I go back. Wang Qi leaned down, grabbed the beast he just killed, and walked towards the place where Instructor Liang and his team had just gone. Hey, where is Instructor Liang? I remember that when I just left, Instructor Liang was standing on a high place with the 2 team members who did not participate in the battle. Now Wang Qi came back and only saw the 2 people on the tree, and Instructor Liang was gone. Wang Qi, you can actually hunt wild animals. No wonder the instructor trusts you to go hunting. A teenager on the tree saw the prey in Wang Qi's hand, his face was full of surprise, and he almost fell off the tree. At this moment, he also truly realized the gap between himself and Wang Qi. It seems that the instructor has a keen eye. Where is Instructor Liang? Why is he not with you? Wang Qi looked at the 2 people on the tree, threw the prey in his hand to the ground, squatted down and wiped the blood on his hand on the fur of the beast, and asked them with some doubts. When the 2 people on the tree heard Wang Qi's words, the teenager who was still immersed in surprise hurriedly answered Wang Qi's question. Brother Wang, just now there was a cry for help from Brother Ruan and others in the south. It seems that they are in trouble. Instructor Liang went to patrol. Senior Brother Wang. The 2 men saw that Wang Qi could hunt wild beasts, and even the way they addressed him changed, from Wang Qi to Senior Brother Wang, and their tone was also respectful. Hearing this, Wang Qi nodded secretly. He didn't rely on anything else to make the 2 men call him Senior Brother, but on his own strength. You stay here to help me watch the prey, I'll be back soon. Before he finished speaking, Wang Qi had already rushed in the direction pointed by the 2 men. Senior Brother Ruan. Could it be the one who just explained the hunting points to me? Go and have a look, maybe you can get something. While running wildly, he was thinking about whether there would be a wild beast for him to kill this time to obtain attribute points and money points. Not far away, Wang Qi heard a fierce collision sound, and the speed of his feet increased a few points. On the battlefield in front, the fierce battle raised a lot of dust. 5 members of the hunting team were struggling to fight against 10 black wild beasts that looked like wild boars, and 3 of them were fighting a huge wild boar with all their strength. Instructor Liang stood aside, with his hands behind his back, and seemed to have no intention of taking action. He scanned the black wild boar with a cold look, and his calm eyes moved back and forth between the wild beast and the team members. Just as Wang Qi was about to go forward to help, a hunting team member was suddenly knocked to the ground by the wild boar. The wild boar snorted loudly and was about to bite the man. Instructor Liang moved and punched the wild boar on the head. Suddenly, the black wild boar's body stiffened and died, and it suddenly pressed on the fallen team member. Thank you, Instructor Liang. The man quickly pulled out his body, climbed to his feet, thanked Instructor Liang, and then joined the fighting again without stopping. Originally, there were not many members of the hunting group here, and faced with the attack of these wild boar-like beasts, now has a somewhat overwhelming look. Instructor Liang took this opportunity to train the hunting team members. His strong strength could ensure that the students would not be in danger of their lives, and they could also gain gains in extreme battles. Wang Qi saw the situation clearly, and his heart suddenly became enlightened. I ran forward in 3 or 2 steps and heard the system prompts. Ding! 10 level 3 beasts were found. Ding! A level 4 beast was found. Looking at these 11 wild boars, Wang Qi was slightly startled. Was this a stab in the pig's nest? The 3 people facing the largest wild boar in front seemed to be unable to hold on any longer and kept retreating. Upon seeing this, Wang Qi raised his glove and used Feishu fist to bypass the 3 people and hit the wild boar's abdomen from the side. He originally wanted to disembowel the wild boar with the help of the fist blade on the glove, but he didn't expect that the wild boar had rough skin and thick flesh. Wang Qi's huge strength had staggered it and almost fell to the ground. But this time the powerful defense only made a wound on the side of the belly. When the 3 people on the side saw other team members coming to support them, their pressure suddenly dropped and they wanted to work together to kill the wild boar. When they took a closer look, it turned out to be the newbie who had just joined. Among them, senior brother Ruan immediately shouted anxiously, "Why is it you? You want to live anymore? Leave quickly. This is a level 4 beast. We can't resist it. Why are you, a novice, joining in the fun?" Wang Qi gave the three of them a reassuring look, and then focused his attention on the wild boar. The wild boar was injured by Wang Qi. The wild boar seemed to be irritated, and it roared loudly and rushed towards Wang Qi. The body is huge, almost as tall as a person. Seeing this, Wang Qi quickly moved away, and senior brother Ruan shouted to the two people next to him, "Don't be stunned, come together." The wild boar quickly arrived in front of Wang Qi. Wang Qi used Feishu fist and slammed the fist downwards towards the wild boar's face. The wild boar was knocked down by its front legs and slid forward. Wang Qi, who was pushed forward, was tightly supported by his arms and pushed several meters away. This power seems not as good as mine. With one blow, Wang Qi understood the power of the wild boar. In this case, I will kill you with my fist. Looking at the three people attacking on the side, he said, "You go help the others, leave this one to me." Seeing that Wang Qi was able to suppress the wild boar, senior brother Ruan nodded repeatedly and told Wang Qi to be careful. However, there was another person who stared at Wang Qi and refused to move, shouting, "Are you going to steal the points from this beast? You fool, we can't kill this level 4 beast at all, why not rush to help and maybe get some points?" When senior brother Ruan heard what one of the team members said, he immediately became furious, his face became a little ferocious, and he roared angrily. When the man heard this, his eyes were still full of unwillingness, but he was helpless, and finally had to turn around to help others. The 5 people over there had helpers join in, and the pressure suddenly dropped. They continued to attack and defend, and hone their combat skills. This wild boar has rough skin and thick flesh, which is really a good choice for practicing combat skills. Wang Qi fought back and forth with the wild boar several times. Wang Qi saw large and small wounds on the wild boar's body and head, and blood was flowing out. His constant use of Feishu fist also increased his proficiency rapidly during the battle. The progress is much faster than simply practicing boxing at noon. Ding! Feishu fist has been upgraded to the 2nd level. Proficiency 0-200, skill damage 150%. Feishu fist became more and more smooth in Wang Qi's hands. After it was upgraded to the 2nd level, the damage caused also increased a lot, a full 1.5 times. It may take ordinary people several years to practice this boxing to such a level. At this time, Instructor Liang could only increase the strength of this boxing technique by 50%. Wang Qi thought about what Instructor Liang said when he taught them boxing skills. His boxing skills had already reached Instructor Liang's level. The improvement in strength immediately made it difficult for the wild boar that was confronting Wang Qi to resist. Wang Qi punched several times in a row, becoming stronger and faster, killing the wild boar directly. Ding! First kill of a level 4 beast. Attribute points +4. Ding! Attribute points +0.4. Ding! Get 400 alliance coins. Looking at the lifeless wild boar lying on the ground, Wang Qi seemed to be unsatisfied and punched the body a few more times. Attribute points equals strength. The 10 wild boars on the side suddenly became meat and potatoes in Wang Qi's eyes. He stared at them with hungry wolf eyes and attacked these wild boars without any hesitation. The wild boar, which was difficult to kill in a short time in the hands of the hunting team members, was like chopping melons and vegetables in Wang Qi's hands. He hit the wild boar with just 3 or 2 punches until it collapsed to the ground and lost its breath. The battle on the field also ended instantly. These team members seemed to be stunned by the situation in front of them. They froze on the spot for a while and looked at Wang Qi in surprise. "Why are you so strong? Is this your first day in our martial arts studio? Are you human?" The 3 members of the hunting team were confused when they saw Wang Qi's powerful strength. They suddenly felt unbelievable. Could this be a level that a novice could achieve? These 10 wild boars, despite so many people fighting for a long time, could barely manage to lose. In Wang Qi's hands, they were like clay toys with no fighting power at all. Killing these 10 wild boars gave Wang Qi 3 attribute points and 3,000 alliance coins, and Wang Qi was so happy that his mouth was about to open. "You are very good." Instructor Liang, who was watching the battle, also walked up to him and looked at Wang Qi. A hint of appreciation appeared on his cold face. He was very satisfied with Wang Qi's performance and strength. It was rare for such a talent to appear in Baiyu Martial Arts Hall. Let's go. These corpses are too bloody and may attract other powerful beasts. I will collect them first. You will share the hunting points. Get ready to continue hunting. Instructor Liang turned around and still had his hands behind his back. He ordered everyone to adjust their status and continue hunting. With a wave of his hand, these corpses disappeared. It turned out that Instructor Liang had collected these corpses into the storage space. Yes, Instructor. The faces of these team members were suddenly full of smiles, especially the team member who just wanted to compete with Wang Qi for hunting points. He also showed a relieved expression on his face. The pile of 10 wild boars was very shocking, and the move of Instructor Liang shocked Wang Qi even more. This storage space is indeed necessary for hunting. Not to mention the materials on the beasts, but the blood and flesh are a considerable income, and the members of the hunting team can only get points. These blood and flesh will be taken back by the accompanying instructors to provide meat for thousands of students in the martial arts hall for training. Looking at this magical scene, Wang Qi's heart was also very hot, and he wanted to have his own storage equipment. The people around them dispersed again after adjusting their condition to look for and kill the beasts. Wang Qi increased all the 9 attribute points he had just obtained to his strength. The powerful feeling made Wang Qi a little lost. His strength now became a full 35. At the same time, his level also changed. From the Warrior 4 just now, level, became the 5th level of Warrior. It has been upgraded to another level. This speed is really fast. From this point of view, my strength attribute is that 1 point of strength corresponds to 100 kilograms, which is the strength of one person. Now he has 35 points of strength, which means that his strength is 3,500 kilograms, which is the strength of 35 people. I can't even imagine that this is the result of practicing for several days, and today's improvement is the biggest. Hunting wild beasts can not only improve actual combat experience, but also gain more attributes. The powerful strength greatly boosted Wang Qi's confidence. He didn't know if there were any higher level beasts nearby that he could kill to obtain attributes. Although his strength was strong now, his physique and speed were not enough. Thinking of the mismatched items before, attributes allow your body to change, so that other attributes will not hold you back in battle. However, after the battle just now, Wang Qi had a rough understanding of the strength of the members of his hunting group. The strongest ones were only Warrior level 3, and the rest were Warrior level 2. Those two did not participate in the battle. His strength is the weakest, at the level of Warrior. In this case, I am afraid that the beast that Instructor Liang just lured will have a hard time seeing a beast with a higher level of strength. Wang Qi was thinking about how he could find a high-level beast so that he could kill it. Watching everyone leave, Wang Qi also headed deep into the jungle. If there isn't one nearby, I'll run farther. In such a vast wilderness, I don't believe there aren't powerful beasts. Wang Qi was talking to himself while running. Soon he left the range specified by Instructor Liang. Ding, we found a lot of wild beasts ahead. Coming to the depths of the jungle, there were not only wild beasts, but also dozens of warriors fighting. Judging from the clothes on their bodies, they seemed to be from the Baiyu Martial Arts School. Wang Qi stepped forward and saw that one of the strong and graceful figures kept flashing, and the long knife in his hand kept slashing at a fierce horse. It turned out to be the girl named Fang Lei who helped Wang Qi in the morning. Is this the hunting group led by Bald Instructor Liu? Wang Qi looked around, trying to find the figure of Bald Instructor Liu. It was too far away and he didn't know what level the monster in front of him was. The battle over there seemed to be over, and Fang Lei was seen walking towards Wang Qibian. Seeing Wang Qi, who shouldn't be here, Fang Lilongruo's eyes revealed a trace of disbelief. It's you, Wang Qi. Why did you appear here? Your primary hunting area shouldn't be here. Quote. Wang Qi looked at the elegant Fang Lei in front of him. Coupled with the help he received in the morning, he scratched his head with a smile and said, I didn't meet many wild beasts there, and they were too weak, so I thought let me walk around and see if you can encounter a stronger beast for me to hunt. I didn't expect to encounter Senior Sister Fang. Fang Lei felt even more incredible when she heard this. You are a newcomer who just joined the martial arts gym. The beasts in the primary hunting area also have 1 to 3 levels of strength. You dare to say that your strength is too weak. I don't know if you are too arrogant or too stupid. Well, a newborn calf is not afraid of tigers, yet it dares to run deep into the jungle, seeking death. The look he looked at Wang Qi also changed, becoming suspicious, disbelieving, and even a little contemptuous. He didn't expect this guy to be such a person. I wonder why you are here, senior sister. Wang Qi seemed a little excited to unexpectedly meet the senior sister from his martial arts school. Instructor Liu led the team today. He said that the number of wild beasts in the wild has increased, and their strength has also increased a lot. He is worried that it will affect the safety of your junior and intermediate hunting areas. He asked us to patrol here and kill the beasts with outstanding strength, so as not to affect your hunting and cultivation. Also, if you are too weak, don't come here to join in the fun, or you will lose your life. Fang Lei turned around and left while answering Wang Qi's question with a slightly cold tone, urging Wang Qi to leave here as soon as possible. Wang Qi, on the other hand, was staring at the many wild beasts in front of him, his eyes were shining brightly, and his mouth was drooling. He saw Wang Qi running towards the group of beasts, not taking Fang Lei's reminder to heart at all. When Fang Lei saw this, she frowned slightly and said to herself with a somewhat unhappy look on her face, "Is this Wang Qi looking for death? These beasts are all at level 5 or 6, and even I don't dare to face them once. There are so many beasts, I really don't know what to think." At this time, Wang Qi had sneaked around a corner, not far from the beast, and hid himself. Senior sister Fang just reminded me that there are mostly level 5 and 6 beasts here. If they are level 5, I should be able to deal with them. If they are level 6, I'm afraid I won't be an opponent at all with my current strength. I don't know the strength of the beasts, and these beasts are in groups, so I don't dare to take action rashly. I can only observe here first and look for opportunities. Just when Wang Qi was observing carefully, suddenly a figure of a wild beast ran towards Wang Qi. After a closer look, he turned out to be chased by Fang Lei. If he couldn't beat him, he would just run away. This beast was not stupid at all. However, Fang Lei from a distance saw the direction in which the beast was escaping, and suddenly slowed down and followed the beast leisurely. Wang Qi was even happier when he saw this. It was like a pillow was delivered to him when he was sleepy. It was easier for him to deal with the injured beast by himself. Ding! A level 5 beast was found. A level 5 beast should not be a problem for him, not to mention that it was an injured beast. There was a wound on the hindquarters of the wild horse that was cut by a sharp blade. It was bleeding as it ran. Seeing that the horse was approaching, Wang Qi, who had been hiding, suddenly jumped out and got ready to fight. Seeing this, the wild horse also sped up. When it was almost in front of him, it jumped forward, trying to step on Wang Qi under its hooves, and stepped towards Wang Qi fiercely with 1,000 pounds of force. Looking at the horse's hoof, Wang Qi twisted his body, used the flying fist, and slammed the gloves in his hands into the wild horse's flank with his fists. The spikes and fist blades directly broke the wild horse's ribs, and blood flowed. The wild horse, which was already seriously injured, wailed and rolled to the ground. Wang Qi took advantage of the victory and hit the wild horse's neck and head with several consecutive punches, beating it to death. Ding! First kill of level 5 beast attribute points plus 5 inches. Ding! Attribute points plus 0.5. Ding! Alliance coins plus 500. This upgraded Feishu fist is different. The damage caused by his own power was increased by 50% with just one punch. He immediately beat the wild horse to the point where he could not control himself and allowed himself to be slaughtered. A level 5 beast can provide 0.5 attribute points and 500 alliance coins. It seems that this warrior level beast will also increase its attributes by 0.1 and 100 alliance coins. Fang Lei from a distance saw Wang Qi killing the wild horse so easily. She ran to Wang Qi in the blink of an eye and pointed at Wang Qi. Her trembling voice could not conceal her excitement and disbelief. You. How could you kill this level 5 beast like this? It turned out that the words were not easy to say. Hey, I told you that the beasts in our hunting area were too weak just now, so they came here. We can easily deal with these level 5 beasts. Wang Qi looked at the other party's surprised look, and couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in his heart, with a proud look on his thin face. I saw you at noon. Didn't you just join the martial arts gym? Why are you so strong? There should be a strength test when registering for school. How could someone as strong as you be assigned to the junior class? Or are you already a student in the intermediate class, and you didn't practice well and went to the junior area to bully the weak? Let me tell you, hundreds of miles around here are the hunting areas of our Bayou Martial Arts School. Did you secretly steal from your intermediate hunting group? Sneak out, I'll tell you, instructor. Fang Lei was very shocked by Wang Qi's performance. It was hard to imagine that Wang Qi was a novice student who had just joined the martial arts gym and was assigned to the junior class. In the past, not all students enrolled in Bayou Martial Arts Hall were from the lowest level warriors join at the first level, and there are warriors who have already practiced successfully. What kind of strength joins will be matched to the corresponding class according to the strength. If there are powerful warriors, they will even be evaluated by the gym leader and become instructors. Wang Qi had just killed a level 5 beast with ease. He didn't look like a junior player at all. Such strength was above average in the intermediate hunting group. Hearing Fang Lei's words, Wang Qi was embarrassed and dumbfounded. How is it possible? I am really a member of the junior hunting group, and our instructor is Instructor Liang Yueliang. If you don't believe it, you can ask it yourself. How could Wang Qi want to waste so much time with her now? Looking at the beasts in the distance that were being killed by several Bayou martial arts practitioners, Wang Qi felt so distressed that it felt like he was bleeding. These were all attribute points and money. Without further ado, Senior Sister Fang, do you think I can hunt wild beasts with you here with my strength? When Fang Lei heard this, she looked at Wang Qi intently, and after a while she said, okay, but when you fight, you will do what you can. If you can't beat, just call someone. These are all high-level hunters. Students in the group, I am the group leader, ask me or them to help you. Unexpectedly, Fang Lei was already the leader of the senior hunting group at such a young age, which made Wang Qi couldn't help but take a second look at her. The two came to the battlefield ahead. Looking at the attribute light balls dropped by the members of the advanced hunting group on the ground in front, Wang Qi quickly ran around these people. This was another 5.8 attribute point income. Wang Qi wished he could hug these people and kiss them. They had so many attribute points. By adding 6 points of strength to these more than 10 attributes, and 2 points each of physique and speed, Wang Qi's strength has been further improved. There is still some distance between the 6th level of warriors. It is said that the strength of 6th level warriors must reach 6,400 kilograms, and the strength of 64 people is considered the entry threshold. He is only 41 people strong now and has to continue to work hard. Sister Fang, who is this person you are bringing with you? What were you running around here just now? Do you want to compete with us for hunting points? A man who was fighting a wild beast asked Fang Lei with a hint of displeasure in his tone. Why are these people so petty? I just ran around them, but I thought I was going to steal their hunting points. As of today, Wang Qi doesn't think it is difficult to obtain hunting points. As long as the number is enough and he is strong enough, he can complete 100 beasts of the same level, although it is difficult. If he has a helper, the speed will be faster. Wang Qi never imagined that other warriors could cultivate as easily as him. His attribute points and strength would increase rapidly. He practiced day after day, coupled with close combat with wild beasts, licking blood from his knife edge all day long. These warriors finally have the opportunity to kill lower-level beasts to gain points this time, which can relieve some pressure. If this is a member of their own hunting team, it doesn't matter. Everyone must carry out the orders given by the instructor, but in a place that has never been. The young boy I met wanted to share these beasts and hunting points with him, but he was unwilling to do so. What are you shouting? This is also a member of our hunting team from Bayou Martial Arts School. He got separated from their hunting team and then met me. I am not strong enough and don't want to hunt more beasts to hone my strength. On the contrary, I am afraid that others will snatch it from you. Hunting points really disgrace our senior hunting team. When Fang Lei heard what the man said and the displeasure in his tone, she responded coldly and without mercy. Upon seeing this, the man glanced at Wang Qi coldly and said no more. Brothers, I just want to improve my strength through actual combat. You can get as many hunting points as you want. I won't take any of them. My strength has improved a lot since I just joined the martial arts gym. How can I get less hunting points in the future? Besides, what he wanted was attribute points, and Wang Qi really didn't care about the hunting points. He shouted loudly to the figures in front of him, expressing his goodwill. He didn't want to be bothered by these trivial matters, and killing the beast was his top priority. The members of the senior hunting team looked at Wang Qi in surprise when they heard this, and they didn't understand why Wang Qi was willing to give up the hunting points. This was the top priority for them, but Wang Qi didn't care at all. Suddenly, several people who were still fighting were attacked by the beasts without paying attention. Although the strength of the senior hunting team members was strong, it took some effort to kill the weaker beasts. Wang Qi looked at the hostility of those people and seemed to have decreased a little. He breathed a sigh of relief in his heart, and it should be no problem for him to hunt the beast. I saw a hunting member preparing to cut the beast that had already fallen to the ground. Wang Qi shouted, "Brother, let me do it," and rushed into the battle circle. He immediately used the flying fist, the strongest attack now, and slammed into the beast. Ding! Completed the first kill of a level 6 beast, attribute points plus 6 inches. Ding! Attribute points plus 0.6 alliance coins plus 600. Wang Qi shook off the blood on his black boxing gloves and grinned happily. He still had a high first kill attribute. Then he said to the senior student holding a knife beside him, "Brother, the hunting points are yours." After that, he turned around to look for other targets. This senior brother stared at Wang Qi. He really didn't want hunting points, but just came to hone his strength. There are such people. This senior brother shook his head and smiled, leaned down to drag the body of the beast aside and looked for targets to fight again. When the other senior hunting team members saw this, they immediately knew that Wang Qi was not lying. It seemed that he really would not compete with them for hunting points. As long as Wang Qi came to them, these members were happy and idle. They didn't have to work too hard to get points. Today they really met a big sucker. These people still thought that Wang Qi was like a fool, but they didn't know that Wang Qi was even happier in his heart, and the smile on his face was like a blooming chrysanthemum. 1, 2, 5, 6. Not only the attribute points, but also Wang Qi's actual combat ability and martial arts have made great progress. When encountering a beast of level 5 warrior, he can kill it in less than 20 moves with the help of senior hunting team members. When encountering a beast of level 6 warrior, he can fight with the beast for dozens of rounds with the help of senior hunting team members. Finally, the two of them tortured the beast of level 6 beyond recognition, and Wang Qi suddenly ended the life of the beast. Look at the speed of Wang Qi's progress. Hunting beasts is not only for hunting points, but also for the practice of practical skills in our martial arts practice. When you are strong, you will no longer be afraid of beasts and no longer be difficult to resist. At this time, hunting points will not be easy to get. Fang Lei shouted loudly at this moment, and her words were more like a strict instructor, teaching disciples the knowledge of martial arts practice and emphasizing the importance of practical skills to disciples. The people around nodded in secret after hearing this, and immediately followed Wang Qi's example to hone their martial arts, hoping to improve their strength and get hunting points more easily. Wang Qi also heard this, and he wanted to hug Fang Lei and kiss her. In the process of the battle just now, many beasts were directly killed, and Wang Qi had no chance to take action at all, let alone attribute points. Now after Fang Lei said this, Wang Qi only needs to pay attention to observe and hone martial arts with other hunting team members, and take the opportunity to complete the final kill to obtain more attribute points and alliance coins. It's really a good place to improve strength. I must come here often in the future. These people all use long swords, and their swordsmanship is also very skilled. They are worthy of being students of the advanced hunting group. Time flies. One sword and one style are constantly honing on the body of the beast, becoming more proficient, and some even seem to be one with the sword. The beast is beaten without resistance in a few strokes. Wang Qi hurriedly stepped forward to finish the sword and obtain attributes. Time is almost up. Everyone, fight quickly and kill all the high-level beasts in this area and meet with Instructor Liu. After more than an hour, Fang Lei's voice came from the battlefield. During this period, although the overall number of kills increased slowly, because everyone was honing their martial arts, basically all the beasts suffered the last attack before they died, and the last one was Wang Qi's Feishu fist. Because of the distance between them, although some were missed, it also allowed Wang Qi to gain about 16 attributes and nearly half of his martial arts proficiency. Fellow brothers, please let me end the life of the beast later, so that the gloves in my hands can taste the blood of the beast more. Seeing that the final battle was about to take place, Wang Qi hurriedly bowed to the people around him, hoping that they could cooperate with him and give him a chance to gain attribute points. Ha ha ha, Wang Qi, it's not that my senior brother won't give you a chance. It's almost time for us to gather. If we go too late, Instructor Lu will get angry and we can't bear it. That's right, if you want to end the beast's life, you have to go all out later. We have gained something from the actual combat just now, you have to work hard. The people around laughed and became familiar with Wang Qi after the battle just now. Listening to what these people said, Wang Qi's thoughts fell through, but he ignited a spirit of not admitting defeat and wanted to compete with these senior brothers. Okay, then I'll go all out. Clutching the gloves in his hands and looking at the senior brothers around him whose swordsmanship and body shapes suddenly became sharp, Wang Qi did not dare to fall behind and kill the remaining beasts. The combat ability of these people has improved a lot compared to before. After all, Wang Qi still has a lot of gaps between them. After this battle, Wang Qi only killed a level 5 beast, and the rest were all taken care of by the senior brothers in the advanced group. It seems that you have done well in the battle today, Fang Lei. A rough voice came from a distance, and a burly figure gradually approached. It was the bald Instructor Lu. Wang Qi, why did you come here? You don't stay with your instructor, but run around here. Are you looking for death? Instructor Lu looked at the bright red blood still on Wang Qi's boxing gloves, snorted coldly, and asked in a stern tone. You, a newcomer who is not even a level 1 warrior, dared to run to the depths of this jungle, with blood on your boxing gloves, and your clothes are a little messy. It seems that you have fought. You are really ignorant. Who is your instructor? How dare he let you come here? Wang Qi saw that the bald Instructor Lu had a fierce look on his face and scolded him without giving him a chance to explain. Wang Qi also smiled bitterly and said to him, Instructor Lu, listen to me. What are you talking about? Answer my question. Before Wang Qi finished speaking, he was interrupted by the bald Instructor Lu rudely. My instructor is Instructor Liang Yu. Hearing Wang Qi's words, the bald Instructor Lu waved his hand and put the beast corpse on the ground into the storage space like Instructor Liang. He said to Fang Lei and others, you go to gather, I'll be back soon. After that, he grabbed Wang Qi's collar and ran towards the primary hunting area. The bald Instructor Lu didn't know how strong he was. Wang Qi had no resistance in his hands and could only let him grab the clothes behind his neck and move quickly. At the same time, a gray-white attribute light ball was about to fall down from Instructor Lu's body. Wang Qi quickly hugged the bald Instructor Lu's waist, and his palm was near the attribute light ball. Before it fell, it was directly absorbed by Wang Qi. Ding, attribute points plus 10. It seems that the strength of this bald Instructor Lu and Instructor Liang Yu is comparable, and the attributes dropped are the same, but Wang Qi has no clear concept of high-level warriors. In addition to the attributes obtained from hunting the beast just now, Wang Qi now has 26 usable attribute points. It could improve his strength a lot. Wang Qi hugged the waist of the bald Instructor Lu and giggled. My current strength is the strength of 41 people, and the initial entry standard for the 6th level warrior is the strength of 64 people. If all these 26 attribute points are added to strength, he can reach warrior level 6, but the data of the other 2 items are too far behind. What should I do? Wang Qi, who was still giggling just now, was thinking about the use of attribute points, but he encountered a difficulty. Difficulty choosing is really troublesome. The bald Instructor Lu who was on his way had a strange expression on his fierce face. This guy must have a problem with his orientation, right? He was still giggling while hugging himself. Isn't his brain really bad? It's a pity that the owner of the museum allows him to pay more attention to this guy. During the day, he was beaten to the point where he was unable to fight back. Now he was not complying with the rules, running around in the hunting area, and he might also have a special hobby. Suddenly, Wang Qi was despised many times in the eyes of the bald Instructor Lu. Wang Qi was thinking about how to distribute his strength. The airflow generated by his fast-moving body made Wang Qi unable to open his eyes. Suddenly, the big hand behind his back suddenly let go. Wang Qi fell to the ground and looked around. He had already reached Liang. The instructor had just taken them to the area where they hunted wild beasts. Liang Yu, can you take care of your team members and stop running around here? This is not a martial arts gym. We just held a meeting yesterday to emphasize that we must pay attention to the safety of the martial arts students. You just let this kid run around. If something goes wrong, how will you explain it to the owner? Bald instructor Lu dropped Wang Qi, raised his head and looked at Liang Yu, who was still standing on the tree, his tone full of dissatisfaction. Liang Yu stood on the treetops, glanced at instructor Lu coldly, and said in a disdainful tone, "Baldo, last week you were negligent and injured many members of your hunting group, which made the owner angry. I scolded you at yesterday's meeting. Don't act like a wolf here, you don't have the qualifications to educate me." Liang Yu's temper didn't look very good either. The bald instructor Lu, who was quick to quarrel with each other with just one sentence, stared at him fiercely with a pair of copper bell-like eyes. "I won't tell you more. Today our high-level hunting team went to the intermediate area to clean up wild beasts. Now I surveyed the hunting area here at Bayou Martial Arts School. There are dozens of times more intermediate and high-level beasts, especially in the high-level area. There are more, so you'd better be careful. If you don't want your team members to die here, discipline them well to avoid punishment from the leader." The bald instructor Lu did not want to argue too much with other instructors. After finishing speaking, he snorted and turned away. Liang Yu moved her feet and reached Wang Qi in a flash. Staring at Wang Qi, "You are very good. You dare to go to the intermediate hunting area." His eyes were sharp, but his tone was full of appreciation. "Gather, go back to the martial arts hall." After nearly an afternoon of fighting, many members of the hunting team were exhausted. Now that they heard that they could go home and rest, they suddenly burst into cheers. They must not let up in hunting spirit at all, and are always ready to fight. For students who have just entered martial arts practice, this kind of pressure is very great. It's approaching evening. Everyone returned to Bayou Martial Arts Hall. Those of you who are injured should go to the martial arts hospital to have your injuries treated. The rest of you can disperse and go home. Wang Qi, please stay here. Liang Yu directed everyone, and several slightly injured team members helped each other towards the hospital. Wang Qi heard the instructor's voice, and although he was confused, he didn't know what the instructor had to do to leave him alone. "Are you trying to make a little fuss for yourself here?" I started thinking wildly for a while. Seeing that there was no one around, Liang Yu stared at Wang Qi and said, "Your current strength far exceeds that of other members of the junior class. You are not suitable to stay here." When Wang Qi heard this, he secretly admired him. Instructor Liang's eyes were really vicious. He didn't know what he meant by saying this. Did he want to drive him away? He stared at his instructor with a trace of nervousness on his face. "You don't have to look at me like this. I saw you when you went to the intermediate area to kill the beasts in the afternoon. It's very good. Your current strength should be close to the 6th level of a warrior. I'm very curious. You are really a newbie. Can a warrior who has entered the martial arts improve so quickly? In the morning, his strength is only a little bit more than the 4th level of a warrior, and he can improve so much in one day." Quote. Seeing Wang Qi's expression, Liang Yu seemed to have read through his thoughts, and her tone was full of curiosity. If Wang Qi hadn't hidden his strength, and if he was truly gifted, then Bayou Martial Arts School would have really found a treasure. "Yes, instructor, I have just started practicing. I have been unable to practice due to physical reasons, and I just started a while ago." Wang Qi was relieved when he heard this, but he didn't know how to explain his rapid growth in strength. Fortunately, the instructor didn't ask more, he was just curious. "Okay, I won't ask more questions about your strength, just follow me." Looking at the instructor in front of him with his hands behind his back, Wang Qi was filled with doubts. Where would he take himself? After a while, Liang Yu took Wang Qi to a building deep in the martial arts hall. They went up to the 2nd floor and found the entrance to a huge conference room. The door was ajar. Before they entered, they heard a rough sound coming from inside. "Master, the boy you asked me to watch is nothing special, and he is also blindly arrogant." And that Liang Yu actually asked the members who joined the hunting group on the first day to participate in hunting. It's okay to participate in hunting, but he ran to the intermediate hunting area. He, as an instructor, didn't supervise carefully. "I have made a mistake once. I think this kind of problem should not appear in our martial arts hall again." The voice is very familiar. It is the bald instructor Lu. Liang Yu seemed to have heard this voice. There was no change on his face. He said to Wang Qi behind him, "You go over there and wait. Don't run around. If I call you later, come in." Wang Qi responded with some surprise. This instructor Liang actually brought him here. It seems that this should be the place where the instructors hold a meeting. There should be the owner of the Baiyu Martial Arts Hall inside. In the meeting room, the bald instructor Lu, with a red face and thick neck, stood in front of the huge conference table, gesturing excitedly to a woman in white in the main seat in the center, and kept telling everything he saw during the day. "Bald, can you shut your mouth?" Liang Yu walked in at this time. In the huge conference room, besides the woman in white sitting in the main seat, there were more than 20 instructors from the martial arts school sitting on both sides. Among them were the bald instructor Lu and Liang Yu's twin brother Liang Sheng, whom Wang Qi saw in the morning. Each of them was very imposing. When they saw Liang Yu and the bald man fighting each other, they all looked like they were watching a show, and they only needed to put some beer, drinks and mineral water in front of them. "Okay, Lao Lu, sit down first." Humph. The person who spoke was the woman sitting in the middle seat. She had a pink oval face and long flowing braids, and looked like a fairy. "Now that everyone is here, let's talk about the situation in the past few days. The instructors of the advanced hunting group told you what to do yesterday. Please tell us the specific situation. Lao Lu, you come first." After hearing the woman's words, everyone in the conference room immediately sat upright, no longer looking like they were just relaxing. The bald instructor Lu's expression suddenly became serious. "Master, the situation is not optimistic. In the area I am responsible for, the number of intermediate and high-level beasts has increased dozens of times, and the strength of the beasts has also increased a lot. The original intermediate area is now there are also many high-level beasts. Even in the original high-level area, I found several low-level monsters. With the strength of our current students, we have to retreat to the intermediate area for hunting." After the bald instructor Lu finished speaking, a female instructor sitting next to him nodded, agreeing very much with what instructor Lu said, and said to the woman in charge, "Master, the same is true for the area I am responsible for. The situation is similar to that of instructor Lu." The others nodded and agreed. After hearing the instructors of these advanced hunting groups express what they learned one by one, they then turned their attention to the other instructors and asked, "How about the junior and intermediate areas?" "Master, the intermediate hunting area is indeed as instructor Lu said. We did not lead a team to hunt today. Only a few of our instructors went to investigate the situation. Master, there are no changes in the primary hunting area, it's the same as usual." Several instructors sitting on the same side of bald instructor Lu seemed to be from the hunting team, and they each explained the situation they had discovered. Only the primary hunting area closest to Yongfang town seems to have remained unchanged, while the situation in other areas looks grim. The woman in charge heard the reports from the instructors in the martial arts hall, nodded, and then asked, "How was the hunting today? Are there any casualties?" The advanced hunting group had no casualties. Since they all retreated to the intermediate hunting area, the harvest of trophies increased a lot, but most of them are the corpses of level 5 and 6 beasts. The junior hunting group is still the same. It was bald instructor Lu and instructor Liang Yu who spoke. These two people seem to be in charge of all senior hunting groups and junior hunting groups in the martial arts hall respectively. Only these two people were speaking when reporting on the situation. The other instructors were all scheduled. Sit firmly in your seat. It seems that everyone's situation is similar. I communicated with the staff of Yongfang Martial Arts School in the afternoon. This is the same situation in the entire Yongfang town wilderness. From now on, the hunting operations of the senior group will be downgraded and merged with the hunting areas of the intermediate group. The junior group remains unchanged. The woman in white on the throne seemed to have already made a decision in her heart and passed on the order. The instructors of the hunting group below responded in unison, "Yes, Master." Next weekend at Yinwan Mall, our Baiyu Martial Arts School, Yongfang Martial Arts School and other brother martial arts schools will go to participate in the special recruitment meeting held by the martial arts schools. The hunting group, as well as other senior martial arts school class members, as long as they are Warrior 7, all members who are above level 18 and under the age of 18 are all going to participate in this special recruitment meeting. I have already inquired about the information. There are a lot of special recruitment places this time. As long as the martial artist is level 7 or above, he will have the opportunity to join the martial arts school in advance. Time is very tight, don't waste this opportunity. This woman broke another surprising news, and the instructors below immediately exploded when they heard it. The minimum admission standard for this martial arts school before was Warrior Level 1 before you can sign up for the annual martial arts school recruitment. This time, it only requires Warrior Level 7 or above. Master, is your information accurate? One of the instructors in the conference room seemed a little unbelievable. The annual enrollment standards of the two major martial arts schools in Yongfang Town were too high. Both age and martial arts training had not changed. This time, they actually relaxed the scope so much, Moreover, this martial arts school is directly under the management of Tianhua Kingdom. It is basically impossible for ordinary people to enter this martial arts school if they do not have the strength. The woman in the chair did not show any dissatisfaction with the instructor's disbelief. Even when she first heard the news, she was extremely surprised and found it unbelievable. However, the person who informed the news was in a high position and all the gym owners in the entire Yongfang Town martial arts gym, whether it was the three major martial arts gyms or other large and small martial arts gyms, were present. Moreover, martial arts school enrollment was not something that could be joked about casually. All the gym owners at that time were also present. He looked in disbelief. Not to mention how could the instructors in the martial arts gym not be surprised when they heard this. The news is accurate, just take the time to prepare and count all the students who are old enough and strong enough. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, don't miss it. If there is nothing else, go ahead and get busy. Calculate the list in the evening and inform them that the instructor you are responsible for will conduct a week of special hunting training for them in the next week. Otherwise, we will lose the face of our Bayou Martial Arts School after leaving. This woman also spoke passionately. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If her martial arts students can join the martial arts school, her martial arts school's reputation will be greatly improved, and the martial arts school will also give her very generous rewards. Coupled with the increase in the number of beasts now, the strength of myself and the instructors will have the opportunity to improve, and the dilemma of the martial arts school will be solved. Everyone was excited when they heard the news. Master, I have something to discuss with you. At this time, Liang Yu saw that the owner had almost finished his instructions, and the other instructors had already left. It was time to tell the owner about Wang Qi. The figure of the woman who was about to leave paused slightly, and looked at Liang Yu with some doubts. This guy usually didn't say a word in the meeting except for daily work reports. Why did he have something to discuss with him today? The sun rose from the west. Liang Yu was the most low-key among many instructors. He didn't like to talk on weekdays. He had completely different personalities from his brother Liang Sheng. When he first came to Bayou Martial Arts Hall, he was seriously injured. His brother begged him to take in 2 people. His strength was only 1/10 of his strength, and he didn't like to communicate with others, so he was assigned to the junior hunting group to teach students. Although his strength has declined a lot, the junior class students who came out of his hands are quite good among the students of the same level. It happened that a student who seemed to be quite talented came yesterday, so he assigned that student to Liang Yu's subordinates. Could it be that he wanted to ask about this matter today? There is a new student in my group whose strength has improved very quickly. He is no longer suitable to stay in the primary hunting group, so as not to affect his training. I hope the owner can transfer him to another hunting group. If we wait until the assessment at the end of each month, I am worried that this student's talent will be wasted. I hope the owner will consider it. After hearing this, the woman in white secretly thought that this was indeed the case. It seems that I discovered a good idea yesterday. Today, I was able to gather my own strength and use it rationally in one day to reach a standard that surpasses that of junior students. Not bad. I don't know whether it was Liang Yu who taught well, or whether the student named Wang Qi was more talented. After pondering for a while, he looked at Liang Yu, wanting to hear his thoughts, and asked, "Then I will transfer him to Instructor Tian's hunting group, and you will meet with Instructor Tian later. Do you have any other ideas?" Liang Yu shook her head when she heard this. No, Instructor Tian's hunting team is not suitable for him either. Not suitable. The owner of the museum was confused. He remembered yesterday that the new arrival's strength was estimated to be around level 3 and level 4 warriors, which was as strong as level 4 warriors. Isn't the intermediate hunting group suitable for him? What did Liang Yu think? The owner of the museum stared at Liang Yu with confusion, wanting to see what was the reason why Liang Yu was not satisfied with the arrangements of the intermediate hunting group. My strength has recovered somewhat. With this sentence, the expression on the museum owner's face paused for a moment, and then a hint of joy appeared on his face, and he hurriedly asked, "When did it happen? How strong are you now?" Seeing this, Liang Yu casually released a trace of his momentum, stretched out his palms and clenched them into fists. Liang Yu's fists were surrounded by cyan airflow. Infuriated, the owner couldn't suppress the joy in his heart and let out a series of joyful laughter. "Okay, Instructor Liang, congratulations. Apart from me, our Bayou Martial Arts School can also have a second martial artist with true energy. Ha ha ha, tell me, what do you think?" The excitement in her heart was always revealed in the words of the museum owner, and she didn't even care about Liang Yu's objection to her just now. With such a strong strength, she is equal to herself. Even if she is the owner of the museum, she must treat each other as equals and must not be negligent. "Senior hunting team, I'll take him with me." Liang Yu was not too excited about the change in her strength. Her tone was calm, which was completely opposite to the excitement of the gym owner, and her words were simple and clear. "Okay, no problem. Lao Lu is now leading the two most powerful senior hunting groups. He is a little overwhelmed. I will assign the other hunting group to you. The students in the junior class will be led by other instructors. That's it. I'll inform Lao Lu later." Liang Yu seemed to agree with what the owner said when she heard this. She stood up and straightened her clothes. She nodded to the owner calmly and said, "I asked Wang Qi to wait outside. Do you want to meet him?" "No need. I'll leave Wang Qi to you. His talent should be quite good. Yesterday I had a lot of strength that I couldn't use, so I assigned it to you." The owner of the hall shook his head and talked about Wang Qi's talent. He felt relieved to leave such a disciple to Liang Yu. Ever since Liang Yu was injured and was rescued by him, the past few years of getting along with her also made her understand Liang Yu's character, coupled with Liang Yu's own words that he wanted to repay his life-saving grace, taught in the martial arts school, which also helped him a lot. He was strong and upright, so leaving Wang Qi under his care would be a relief. 100 hearts. "Okay, then I'll leave first." Hearing that the owner had no intention of seeing Wang Qi, Liang Yu turned around and walked out of the door without stopping. Only Bayou Pavilion Master still stood there and watched Liang Yu's leaving figure, the joy in his eyes unable to be concealed. Outside the conference room, Wang Qi was squatting on the ground board, leaning against the wall, looking very bored. Suddenly he saw Liang Yu coming out of the conference room, and quickly dusted himself off and stood up. He stepped forward and wanted to hear what Instructor Liang had to say. "You come with me." Liang Yu's cold face showed no expression at all, which made Wang Qi feel a little scared. For some unknown reason, Instructor Liang Yu kept a straight face all day long, looking cold and inhumane. He wanted to say something but he didn't dare to say it seeing the instructor's expression. Wang Qi thought to himself. The two of them went downstairs. Wang Qi lowered his head and followed Liang Yu, not knowing where Instructor Liang Yu was going. I had to calm down and study the distribution of my own attribute points. There are still 26 attribute points, so let's add them all to strength. When the strength is strong, you can kill higher level beasts and get more attribute points. No, just increase the strength. The gap in other attributes is too big, which will affect the overall performance. The physical strength and speed are too poor, and you won't be able to last long. Two thoughts kept fighting back and forth in Wang Qi's mind. I'd better improve my strength first, and we'll talk about the rest later. The comfort brought by powerful strength is unmatched by other attributes. In the end, Wang Qi chose the direction of focusing on strength. Then, 24 attribute points were added to strength, and the remaining 2 points were added to speed. Now Wang Qi's strength has been improved to the 6th level of warrior. Host: Wang Qi. Level: Warrior level 6. Kung Fu: the 2nd level of basic body training, 3/100. Skill: Flying Fist. Proficiency 136 200th. Skill damage 150%. Strength: 64. Constitution, 21. Speed, 16. Spirit, 2. Attribute points, none. Wealth, 11,200 alliance coins. Equipment, none. The strength has reached the 6th level of a warrior with the power of 64 people. This is simply a power that Wang Qi could not imagine before. The proficiency of Feishu Fist has also increased a lot. The proficiency of killing wild beasts in actual combat has increased far more than the speed of actual training. I don't know how much the attack power of Feishu Fist can be improved after it is upgraded to the 3rd level. The wealth is also more than 10,000 alliance coins, which is a rare huge sum for Wang Qi. He has never had so much money. Today is really a harvest. I can make money while improving my strength. It's so cool to hunt wild beasts. The two came to a place in the martial arts hall. This is the place where the strength assessment is conducted at the end of each month. Come with me to test your strength. This place has only one floor, like a huge simple house, a bit like the big warehouse in Wang Qi's memory. The two walked in, and there were nearly 100 larger machines that were very similar to the machines tested when they entered school that day. The practice of a warrior is mainly to polish the body, strengthen the physique, and increase one's own strength to a high enough strength. Go, enter your admission number on the machine and start the test. By the way, don't use Feishu Fist. Use your own strength. Liang Yu gestured to Wang Qi. Wang Qi nodded and walked forward. Standing in front of the machine, he took out his ID card and operated it, inputting his college number and name. The machine started with a buzzing sound. Then a semi-spherical protrusion appeared in front of Wang Qi. Wang Qi turned his head to look at his instructor with a questioning look in his eyes. Liang Yu nodded at Wang Qi in the distance, indicating that Wang Qi should attack the semi-spherical protrusion in front of him. If you don't let yourself use Feishu Fist, then your strength should be 6,400 kilograms. No, the strength attribute has just been added, and I haven't adapted yet, so I won't be able to deliver the strongest punch. Now I should practice Feishu Fist a few times to improve my control of body strength, so that I can. Wang Qi was thinking in his heart, and the movements in his hands started to move accordingly. He stood in front of the machine and started playing Feishu Fist. When Liang Yu saw this in the distance, she couldn't help but frown on her cold face. What was Wang Qi doing? Why do you still fight Feishu boxing to test your strength? However, looking at Wang Qi's skilled boxing skills, Liang Yu's originally frowned brows seemed to relax a little, and she thought to herself, you have actually mastered Feishu boxing to such a proficient level, almost as good as me. I was a little shocked. This Feishu Fist is only the most basic boxing technique. I only practiced it for a period of time when I first came into contact with it. Later, when I got more advanced martial arts, I would have forgotten it long ago. If not, it is too difficult to teach advanced boxing techniques to these students. Most people are not strong enough to practice it at all. Only then did they pick up Feishu boxing, which had not been used for a long time, and teach it in this martial arts hall. This Wang Qi only studied for less than a day, but he has already practiced to this point. His talent is indeed very good. At this time, Liang Yu stood firmly in the distance and watched Wang Qi continue to practice Feishu Fist. After dozens of times, Wang Qi felt that he had completely mastered the power of his body and was extremely powerful. After calming down and adjusting his breathing and body condition, Wang Qi stared at the test machine in front of him, shouted low, and hit it with his right fist fiercely. The numbers on the screen above the machine flashed, and then the number of 6,400 kilograms was displayed. Fortunately, there was no mistake in this punch. Wang Qi secretly breathed a sigh of relief when he saw the numbers on the screen. My judgment was not wrong. The strength of 64 was really 6,400 kilograms. Now I can even fight beasts with level 6 warriors. If coupled with the bonus of Feishu Fist, it has a full strength of 9,600 kilograms, far exceeding other people who have just entered the 6th level of martial arts. Wang Qi was very excited when he thought of this. Zhou Hang, don't let me touch you. Next time I see you, I will make you unable to eat and walk around. Wang Qi clenched his fists tightly. He had never met him before, so he tricked himself into the women's rest area and kicked himself hard. He bullied the weak just because he was strong. Humph. Liang Yu was surprised when she saw that Wang Qi had fought out 64 people. Did this kid still hold back during the afternoon battle? But looking at Wang Qi's body, Liang Yu seemed a little confused. Wang Qi, your strength is pretty good. Liang Yu paused for a moment and then said, strength is the main criterion for rating in the warrior stage. Generally speaking, when strength is improved, other physical qualities will also be improved. But why is there something wrong with your situation? When Wang Qi heard this, he secretly admired that Instructor Liang was really powerful and could actually see his own physical condition. Whether he practices basic physical training or hunts, all he gets are attribute points, which add to his strength. Thinking of this, Wang Qi felt helpless and listened to Instructor Liang saying that something was not right about his situation. However, he couldn't tell the instructor the actual situation, so he could only respond calmly. I'm not sure either. When Liang Yu heard what Wang Qi said at this time, she felt a little confused but said nothing more. Then he told Wang Qi about tomorrow's arrangements. Okay, tomorrow I will take a senior hunting team to hunt, you come with me. We are still gathering here, we will set off tomorrow morning. Wang Qi suddenly showed an extremely excited smile when he heard this. There are wild beasts to hunt, which means that he can get attribute points and money. He can't wait. He nodded quickly and said to Liang Yu, no problem, instructor. But as soon as he finished speaking, he looked at Liang Yu with some confusion, paused and said cautiously, instructor, aren't we in the junior hunting group? How come we are in the advanced hunting group? Isn't this span a bit big? Although my strength has improved a lot, I am still only at the 6th level of a warrior. The advanced hunting group is all masters of the 7th level or above, and the hunting targets are all beasts of the corresponding level. Wouldn't it mean to die if you go by yourself? It's impossible to beat it. Seeing that Wang Qi seemed a little timid, Liang Yu suddenly snorted and said in a cold tone, where are there so many problems? If you go, come to me tomorrow. If you don't go, you will continue to stay in the junior hunting group. There will be a new instructor in charge tomorrow. You. After saying that, he left the place where his strength was tested without looking back. Wang Qi was so frightened that he immediately followed Liang Yu with his head down and said in an urgent tone, go, go. I will go find the instructor when I come to the martial arts gym tomorrow. I was just happy that I could hunt wild beasts tomorrow to increase my strength, but if I almost angered the instructor, my plan would have been ruined. Now that the warrior is at the 6th level, low-level monsters don't provide attribute points at all. No matter how much you kill, what's the point? Use. When the two people left the testing area, they saw Liang Yu move and quickly leave Wang Qi's sight. He just left Wang Qi and stayed there, causing huge wind and waves to blow Wang Qi's clothes. Go home. Wang Qi shrugged helplessly and walked toward the entrance of the martial arts hall. When passing by a training ground, there was a sudden commotion, accompanied by several familiar shouts. It seems to be Meng Fei. Hearing this voice, Wang Qi had a bad feeling in his heart. His strength has improved now, and his hearing is much better than before. He hurried over and saw his sister sitting on the ground, and there was a man protecting his sister. You little girl, you really don't know how to behave. Our brother Joe invited you to go out for a drink, but you didn't even give me face. And you even cursed me. This man was one of the people who bullied Wang Qi in the morning, and Zhou Heng was also crossing his arms and looking down at the two people in front of him, with a sneer on his face, as if he was mocking these two guys who didn't know how to behave, and then said to a lackey beside him. Go, give him some color to see, and you still want to be a hero to save the beauty, don't you see how much you weigh? Seeing this, Wang Qi was even more angry and rushed forward. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.